for which they put themselves in those positions. So that's why this confraternity started in the university campuses. So it's more because those are the kind of people that can challenge the leaders. Those are like the second layer of our leaders. Like once these ones go, these are the people who are about to step into leadership position. So they want to make sure the current leaders are not creating some kind of havoc that will come back to haunt them tomorrow.
Sir, let's continue. Mama Soro Larry, so that you won't lose track of the message.
True. The date, at least 12 years ago, 15 years ago, they withdrew voluntarily.
Professor Shoyinka, are you aware that sometime in 1972, the Ahmadu Bello University proscribed the activities of the pirate confraternity because 2 students died after the initiation ceremony of the pirate confraternity?
I'm not aware of any such story.
Well, Professor Shoyinka, the universities proscribed your organization because they believed that it was not in the interest of national security and it was not in the interest of public safety and public order.
May I repeat something which I said in an interview recently? These very vice chancellors who have proscribed certain organizations, I'm not saying I agree with what you just said. It's amazing that many of them are responsible for the furthering of these secret cults on campuses. I mean, this is on record, and if you call for the security reports, you'll find the case of vice chancellors who, in fact, employed these secret cult members as their bodyguards. They use them to harass the progressive lecturers. They use them even to throw the luggage, the property of these progressive lecturers, I refer to the University of Benin, for instance, one of the most notorious, into the streets. So you see, when authorities give reasons sometimes why they proscribe certain organizations, it's very important to have independent commissions sometimes to look into the real reason behind them.
Okay, Professor Wole Shoyinka, you also said whilst giving testimony here that your organizations contributed, donated blood. What landmark contribution has your organization made to Nigeria in terms of fighting against tribalism, for which was one of your objectives? What have you done since 1952 besides donating blood?
Among the many activities, I spoke about symposia, which really take place during Converge. The theme changes every year, and the public is always invited to participate in the symposia because part of the functions of fraternity is to educate the public and to reorientate the minds of the public. Give you one other instance of the functions of the activities of this organization. It unilaterally looked into the fraudulent activities of the toll gates at the very beginning of the installation of toll gates, discovered that millions were going down the drain and received, in fact, a letter of commendation and thanks from the Ministry of Works. The various activities of the confrat are numerous. I just don't want to, go through the whole list. And when you talk about what have they done to reduce tribalism, is this something one can really measure, beyond symposia, beyond showing example by their own way of life? Is there something they could do beyond that?
Professor Shoyinka, will it surprise you to know that in course of the initiations of your members, they are given a concoction known as Bloody Mary, which also contains weed, blood, and other things?
You see, this is part of the gross mythification that takes place in public. And I'm really distressed that this is being presented to me almost like a statement of fact. In the handbook of the piratical organization, which I hope will be presented here, you will find that drunkenness earns what is known as one of the punitive spots and the various great spots in which you collect very many and you are putted out permanently. The smoking of weed is simply not permitted. However, vis-a-vis this habit of calling things by the wrong name, you'll find that the word weed is used.
Thank you.
And you'll find it means cigarette.
Well, sir, take a look at this. The requirements for loggers. The first page.
Well, this is not my document, and I would rather not be associated. I would rather this came through whoever prepared it. It's important for me to state here, by the way, that there have been so-called initiations into Paris Confraternity held throughout the... we unmasked, for instance, a syndicate which was charging quite a substantial amount of money for allegedly initiating people into the Paris Confraternity. And it was a totally non-existent deck, as we call it. This is one of the reasons I don't want to... I would rather you show it to...
So, sir, I am sure that you will agree with me that a lot of activities have taken place by members of your association without your notice.
Oh, of course. But what I'm saying is that even by non-members, by non-members.
That's okay, sir.
By non-members.
That's okay, sir. Sir, you also served during the regime of Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, correct?
Said what, sir?
You served under General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida.
No, I did not.
You did, sir.
I did not.
You served as the head of the Road Safety Corps.
You see, again, we're in the problem of use of expression. I don't consider serving the nation to reduce road accidents free of charge, without any salary, without any allowances, using my own office and sometimes my own resources. I do not consider that serving under.
It was during his regime.
During. I served the nation during.
Sir, it was also, I am surprised, sir, that it was during that regime that your literary colleague, Maman Vatsa, was executed.
It was during that regime, yes.
How can you reconcile, sir, serving or being associated with Ibrahim Babangida, who we all know caused a lot of violations in Nigeria? How can you reconcile that with your quest for human rights?
Let me remind you that I invented the Road Safety Corps in Nigeria, and I did it under or during a military regime, the military regime of Olusegun Obasanjo. For me, there were certain issues, including issues of life and death, which transcended certain considerations, at least on a temporary level in this nation. May I remind you that the first Road Safety Corps, which was instituted in this country, was destroyed under a civilian regime, the regime of Shehu Shagari. In other words, you find that sometimes military regimes, in certain aspects, can act or respond in a humanitarian level, which it seems from what happened that even civilian regimes don't seem capable of. So since I was not earning one kobo under Babangida, and as I always said, I was prepared to throw out the regime from my office anytime, I had absolutely no problem of contradiction, especially as it was a continuation of something which I began under a military regime.
Sir, I would be correct to say that if you had the opportunity, you would have done the same thing under the regime of Abacha.
That's a very preposterous presumption, very preposterous. It is totally inconceivable. And may I remind you that I resigned from that organization when it became clear that Babangida was not going to leave office at the time he promised he would. Through their job, their assignment back in their faces, and I moved to now devote more time to the politics of this nation. That began under Madam Babangida.
Well, that would be all for this. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, so Ibita Day, another lawyer ma to cross-examine one. But before then, kí la rí sí nǹkan tá ti gbọ́ so far?
Oh yeah, your opinion, your submissions are welcome at this point. So far, with what we've heard, what do we think? Desiree, Fearless Chobimi, Dupsy, Host,
Ekrole gbogbo le. Yeah, happy Sunday. Nǹkan tí èmi rí sí ni pé the inception of that group, of that fraternity, was not the reason tí wọ́n fi ṣe tó fi dálẹ̀. Pé nígbà yẹn pirate ni wọ́n ń pè. And that time, what they meant to be doing is to fight against any injustice. To maybe the government or the lecturers or Kini. Then I guess, but then because my husband is around, I was now asking, we're not talking about it. So said, is not for kid. I understand. It was because of defend that like this reformed Ogboni fraternity. Ẹ mọ̀ pé sì wọ́n ti bá gbogbo ẹ̀ jẹ́ nígbà tí wọ́n create gbogbo àwọn kìíní yẹn gbà yẹn, they were just for defense because when my dad was alive, my dad used to be ROF, but Ọlọ́run gbà wọ́n pé tó di pé wọ́n kú. Then you see all sorts of professionals there among them. So if there is anything, tẹ́mọ̀ wọ́n á dìde fúnra wọn. Okay, ìyá gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ anywhere ìyá gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́ anywhere but they were like the club ni then. But I think that at the time kan ní ti àwọn pirates yìí, àwọn bad ones, I don't know what was happening then, but what I guess is that bóyá wọ́n fẹ́ kọ́ máa ṣe àwọn nǹkan kan tí àwọn ò wá gbà kọ́ ṣe tí policy wọn ò gbà tó wà against, so àwọn yẹn ni wọ́n wá yọra wọn jáde. Àwọn yẹn ni wọ́n wá dé pé bó bá bù lẹ́sẹ̀ tẹ́ pé they now become those toxic one. Because my husband said in those days, nígbà tí wọ́n dá fraternity yẹn sílẹ̀ gbà yẹn pé they were just like kegites. I know most of us went to school and we see all these kegite people. Wọ́n máa wà níta, táwọn máa gyrate, táwọn máa jó, táwọn máa ṣe all. But that is how they were doing it then. They were just like any other social club in the school. But the bad ones among them, àwọn ni wọ́n wá sọ di pé okay, you have to be, you have to be beaten, you have to be almost destroyed, pé kán máa para wọn àbí kán máa fọ́jú ara wọn, like some incidents tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Osu nígbà kan ní in those days, àbí Taswed tó jẹ́ Taswed tó ní pé ọmọ kan wọn yọra wọn lójú. Those are the bad ones. So gbogbo nǹkan tó wá ṣẹlẹ̀, I don't know when this case is Sadiki play lọ́wọ́ yìí tó ṣẹlẹ̀. Maybe it's a recent thing pé they are trying to, but what Pirates was meant for in those days, just like any social club in the school. Thank you.
Recent, Rara.
Okay, kò recent one. Okay, no. Okay. Yeah, because sorry, Mr. Paita. Emma Binuma. Sharing ayé ìgbà yẹn, when they are having weddings, you see them, they're always in their red, in their uniform, I think, is it black and red, tó máa ń múra bí àwọn ológun for any member of the fraternity, you see them the way they celebrate the person, maybe during their wedding or during something. So that was what they were meant for until the bad ones came in. Thank you.
Yeah, ó dà pé Candy ló ń fẹ́ sáré sọ díẹ̀. Candy, ẹ̀yà.
Yes. Nǹkan tèmi rí ń bẹ̀ ni pé nǹkan tíyàn bá fẹ́ ṣe kéèyàn máa rò ó dáadáa, kéèyàn rò pé ṣé tí òun bá padà ṣe kinní yẹn, ṣé tó bá dọjọ́ ọ̀la kò ní padà di wàhálà àbó máa padà di àbí kò ní di wàhálà. Ó ti yé yín? Nǹkan tèmi rí bẹ́ẹ̀ nìyẹn pé nǹkan tíyàn bá fẹ́ ṣe kéèyàn máa rò ó dáadáa kéèyàn tó ṣe é torí kó má padà wá di wàhálà fúnyàn lọ́jọ́ iwájú.
So in other words, when you have a vision,
Oi, come in. Ṣé kémi náà ganu àbí kí n ní sùúrù ẹ má sọ̀rọ̀ ni?
Eganu sí. Ego start me.
Ó sì ọ ní ẹ̀ga ló ṣí.
Ẹ má bínú, mo sáré ń ṣe nǹkan ni ẹ ní sùúrù. Ẹ ní chipi o.
Ṣé ẹ̀ ń róṣọ ni?
Bí kí ọkàn má rọ̀ṣì. Yeah, so just like Mami Desiri have said, their own intention ó different sí nǹkan tí wọ́n wá padà sọ dì mọ́ wọn lọ́wọ́. And the Nigeria we know, nǹkan báyẹn common ní Nigeria. Ọ̀tọ̀ ní nǹkan tẹ́ máa ní plan láti ṣe. But before you know it, àwọn ọmọ aláìgbọràn, àwọn tẹ́ pé fúnra wọn pé màkú lédè màkú ní bí ọ̀rọ̀ justice yìí nànà mẹ́ta ni mo máa yà. Màá kọ́kọ́ mú látọ̀rọ̀ justice for Mohbad. The intention of the people was to say, wọ́n fẹ́ mọ̀ if there is more to Mohbad's death. And we all came out like, oh, àwọn tó ń bully ẹ̀, àwọn tó ń ṣe gbá, àwọn tó ń ṣàwò. We want them to get punished because we all saw the video while he was alive and he was shouting and screaming, blah, blah, blah. And that was the intention of justice for Mohbad. But right now, Tebari, àti ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ rárá gan kò pẹ́, wọ́n divert sí something else. It's become ìwọ kan for Wumi, ìwọ kan for Josie, ẹ̀yin kan for ya Mohbad, àwọn kan for Adura, like that. Everybody pinya. Just the same way everybody pinya, and it becomes another thing entirely. Àwọn tí ó jẹ́ pé torí owó ló ṣe wọlé, àwọn náà wọlé, àwọn tó jẹ́ pé torí eléyìí, àwọn náà wọlé, just the same way bí ti ọ̀gá àgbà wa olùkọ́ wa yìí. Ìgbà táwọn dálẹ̀ nǹkan ẹyọ kan ló dálẹ̀. Ìgbà táwọn ọmọ táwí máa dé, wọ́n gbé ẹyẹ wọ̀, wọ́n gbá ayé wọ̀, wọ́n gbé léyìí wọ̀, wọ́n pín gbogbo ẹ̀ sí wẹ́lẹ́wẹ́lẹ́, ó di pé wọ́n ń bára wọn jà. The same thing is happening in justice for Mohbad now. Àwọn team kìíní kan, àwọn oní ilé kejì, ó ti di competition. Àwa la máa win, àwa la máa ṣe, and I see that. Also, mo máa fẹ́ ya another aspect ní that same Nigeria. Tó yẹ pé the intention of àwọn tán dá sílẹ̀ was for another thing. But right now, the involvement of one person, it has turned to another thing. And that is this OPC, Odua People's Congress. Frederick Fashion had another plan entirely. Láti liberate our Yoruba. And they started this whole thing in UK and in America. Don't she meeting one. But because they want the involvement of Nigeria, wọ́n pè daddy wa ọ̀gá àgbà Gani Adams, wọ́n pè wọ́n wọlé. And bringing Gani Adams in was something else entirely. It started bringing in touts. Also the security. wọ́n sọ di political thugs. Ọlọ́dẹ bọ́ síbẹ̀, ritualist bọ́ síbẹ̀, herbalist bọ́ síbẹ̀, wọ́n kó everything wọlé. Wọ́n sọ di another thing entirely tó di pé ó ti ń di ọ̀rẹ́ ó ti yé gbogbo yín ibi tí mò ń lọ. Sẹ́dúkìá tó ń sá lọ yìí. Ẹ̀yin lẹ́ni ń ganu sí o. Ẹ̀sán kò ní wọ́n gbé wà. Kí lẹ sọ? Ṣé kí n máa sọ̀rọ̀ lọ àbí ń dákẹ́?
Go on. Wọ́n fi lè yín bàjẹ́.
Wọ́n sọ di wọ́n kó oríṣiríṣi àwọn riffraffs. Wọ́n kó wọn wọlé sínú ẹ̀. But the plan of Frederick Fashion was not all what is happening now. The truth be told. But the involvement of one person ó turn it to be another thing entirely, and that is what I think nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀. Ajìjàgbara ọlọ́dẹ àmọ̀tẹ́kùn kìnìkan security for àwọn lọ́balọ́ba ìwọ ló máa tẹ̀ lọ́ba kan lọ sí kìnìkan lọ́la wọlé sínú mọ́tò. All this thing came in and it becomes something else. But initially this was not the plan of the founder of Odua People's Congress. But now everybody ti sọ di, in fact wọ́n ti downgrade ẹ̀ débi pé wọ́n rí bí ẹgbẹ́ àwọn Ṣàgálà group, wọ́n ti rí bí ẹgbẹ́ àwọn tó ń kàwé, àwọn tó ń ní làákàyè, àwọn tó ń fẹ́ ṣiṣẹ́, àwọn tó fẹ́ máa pọwọ́dà. But that is not the initial plan of the founder. Please let me stop there so that I won't just go too deep. Thank you.
Ẹ pàtẹ́wọ́ fúnra yín. Pytha, ẹ ganu sí.
irú ẹ jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn máa garu sí lọ. Ẹ̀yin wo lẹ wà sálẹ̀ tó fẹ́ garu sí nǹkan tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí.
Send request káwa
Babe,
bọ́lẹ̀
so
o.
ọ̀rọ̀ tí mo sọ kalẹ̀ yẹ ẹ̀rí nǹkan kan fún mi bẹ̀.
Kò sẹ́sì ẹ̀mú, kò sí ẹ̀mú.
Ẹ ní sùúrù òbí sí o, ẹ má lè tẹ̀lé tí ń jà o.
Ó ti dá.
Bébè.
Okay, baby, wọn náà fẹ́ kó sọ.
Ìjà wà ńlẹ̀.
Yes, love.
Ṣé nǹkan tí mo sọ kalẹ̀ yìí kò sọ̀rọ̀ ń bẹ̀?
You nailed it. So
God bless
there's
you.
really nothing else to add.
Mo kàn fẹ́ mọ̀ bóyá làákàyè mi ń ṣiṣẹ́ pé baby you are proud. I just want to know. Ẹ jẹ́ kó máa lọ dé.
Yes, I'm super.
Mommy busy right now.
We are proud of you, host. We are proud of you.
Nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ ni pé àtayébáyé ni gbogbo kíní nǹkan báyìí máa ń ṣẹlẹ̀. When you come together for a purpose or for a goal, there is always some element among it that maybe based on their selfish motive or to undermine the purpose, they always deviate. It's not left for the people that have the agenda that will not say lie itself, that will be focused on what they actually want to achieve. People infiltrated. There is no organization in the world. If you come out for a purpose, people will be out to infiltrate and undermine. And if care is not taken, the purpose of that organization, the purpose of you coming together will be jeopardized. So that Atayebaye Latinbaye is just left for us to know, just face our focus, like what is your purview. You just have to concentrate on what is your purview. Like ibi tí ọba ń lọ, èèyàn máa ń wò, èèyàn gbọ́dọ̀ wo ariwo ọjà. That is it. It's Atayebaye ni, because everybody, as every individual, we have our purpose, we have our goals, and our purpose might not be the same thing. So people will hijack it for their own selfish motive or to perpetuate some evil, as you have said all around. There is no organization in the world that will come together and say, we want to perpetuate evil. The agenda, the motive is always either I won't believe or believe in it, is always to look out for something, for a goal, for a purpose, to just come out and take an agenda, but people infiltrate you to divert. So that's just it. When you know what you're doing, if you come up for a purpose, just prepare for that. That some people will come to divert your attention, to derail the goals. So, continue, Professor.
Ká tó continue video yẹn ò tí tán o. Ta ló tún fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀? The video is not finished yet. Who wants to say something? Okay, in the absence of anyone, let's go ahead.
Any other questions? Just as an aside, Council was talking about name. Council for, we made a lot of, about 20 minutes about the names. Something occurred to me about what is in a name. A rose by any other name will smell as sweet. This is one side of it. The other side, give a man a name and he will play the part. So you have to reconcile the two in your address.
I may add, give a dog a bad name in order to hang it.
The three sides of name.
Did you get the joke?
My noble professor,
Bàbá
at
wèrè
page
ni
3
bàbá
of
yìí o.
your supplementary petition,
Olórí burúkú ni bàbá tó ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí o. Ẹ máa gbọ́.
You know, show me president.
President ni
Níbo lẹ ti rí president?
sorry, that my noble professor, at page 3 of the supplemental to your original petition, you said, without wasting the time of the commission, the first major item reads, 14th April 97, illegal arrest and detention in Enugu by Colonel Sule Ahmed. Arrested, Ifeanyi Onoche, Dr. Kelvin Ezike, Jude Olotu, Idika Kalu, Onyekachi Elechi, Chambali Mbacha, Ifeanyi Wajiaku, Barrister Cyprian Okeke, Okeke Ndubueze, and Ifeanyi Egwatu. Arrest and torture conducted by Lieutenant now Captain Ahmed Taiwo and Lieutenant Salihu. Duration of ordeal, 3.5 months. Last date of detention, 14th November 1997. Relief sought, release of seized materials, payment of compensation. By extension of the first question of the last counsel that cross-examined you, sir, you are not in Nigeria too.
Look.
I'm not landed, sir. Between the period of 14th April 1997 to November 1997, you are not in Nigeria, sir.
No.
Where were you, sir?
Oh, I'll have to look at my many passports to tell you exactly where. May I point out, Your Lordship, also that even if I were in Nigeria, I could not have been present at all of these events. I would have to conduct my serious investigation.
Sorry, sir, you are not sure of your whereabouts at this period.
The exact place?
No, whether you are within or without Nigeria.
Could you just repeat the date again?
That between the period of 14th April 1997 to 14th November 1997, where were you, sir?
Outside Nigeria.
Outside Nigeria, sir. And that means, sir, that since you are not in Nigeria, it is a hearsay. Whatever you have said under this major item is an information passed to you.
Would you say that after the police are informed about a crime and they investigate that it is still a hearsay, you know, would you use that expression for your report after investigating certain crimes? Would you use the word hearsay?
With utmost humility, sir, you may not be able to ask me a question. Thank you, sir. I'm cross-examining you, sir.
If you
are not in Nigeria, you were informed about the incidents of 14 November.
When you get mute, mute.
14th November 1997, sir.
Yeah, I wasn't present at Ken Sarui was hanging also.
Very well, sir.
But he was hanged, he and his companions also.
Thank you, sir. Sir, on the 31st of October 1980, you decided to incorporate the National Association of Sea Dogs. Your certificate was for National Association of Sea Dogs on the 31st of October 1980, sir.
I think so, but I think you better
justice of team
and I am not. So I cannot be specific about this.
You see, sir, you have said so much about the
in general terms,
the aim and objectives
in general terms
of National Association of Sea Dogs, and in light of that, where I'm going actually is this, sir, that if you are incorporating the kind of association you have, sir, you are always required to have submitted with your application form your aims and objectives.
Excuse me, could you talk to the executive about this? I've just repeated, I am not an official of the Paris Confraternity. Could you wait and speak to the executive, those who incorporated it, who know the dates, who presented the papers? I do not have that kind of information.
Are you a member of the National Association of Sea Dogs by the 31st of October 1980, sir?
Yes, certainly. I've never ceased to be a member. Never ceased to be a member.
And on the 30th, you are in the society, you are a member, sir. You submitted with your application for incorporation some aims and objectives.
Excuse me, when it says you submitted, I do not know what was submitted. I was not present, and I don't take part in the day-to-day activities of the chapters. I mean, why don't you wait for somebody who can provide this information?
Who is in custody of your aims and objectives and your certificates?
I presume definitely should be in the possession of the executive, either the secretary or the president or whatever, the president Kapun, as we call them. It's another word for you.
You see, sir, why this is very important to us, sir, with due humility, is that the conditions and directions pursuant to which or premise upon which the certificate was issued to you on the 31st of October 1980, sir, reads thus, and I quote, it said, this certificate is liable to cancellation should the objects or the rules of the body be changed without the previous consent in writing of the minister, or should the body at any time permit or condone any divergence from or breach of such objects or rules. That is why it's very important, sir, in blowing the trumpet of the association, in trying to show that it's an association that tallies with this kind of society we are, sir, we must know too, sir, that originally, when you go to even incorporate, your aims and objectives tallies with what you claim that association to be. So that we know whether there's a divergence or not. We leave that as that, sir, because, sir, I know you cannot be able to answer me adequately.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, let me take you to another area, sir. You have said in your evidence, sir, that consequent upon either ejection from the association or refusal to admit into the association, some people have taken it upon themselves, sir, to go and form some other confraternities. That was your evidence, sir.
Freedom of association, absolutely.
No, I'm not asking you about the constitutional right. I said, sir, consequent upon your refusal to admit some people or your ejectment of some people, they have not taken it up. Some have taken it upon themselves to form some confraternities.
We know about that.
Very well, sir. That very word, confraternity, you use, sir, is part of the words of your association, i.e., Pirates Confraternity.
Yes.
Very well, yes, sir. You have also said, sir, that probably based on the background of these children who have later formed those your own described heinous associations, you have said, sir, that their activities are inimical to the society. During the evidence, those other activities, those other societies.
Yes, I know about
Very well, sir.
And I was not even present at some of those activities.
Very well,
reference to your last question.
Very well, sir. And just like the Pirates Confraternity, sir, those other associations, apart from bearing the name confraternity, they equally have some names which are known to only members alone. That is not the name they bear in the open world. You agree with me, sir?
You're talking about other organizations?
Yes, sir.
I mean, why are you questioning me about other organizations?
Because you so much know about the activities that you even know that the activities are inimical to the society.
I know as much as you do. You read it in the papers?
No.
You hear about people who took machine gun to my former University of Ife, claimed they belonged to a fraternity and mowed down other students? Are you saying that is not public knowledge?
It is. Sir, when you are being taken on oath, sir, the last one was said, "So help me God," and you said, "So I affirm." What does that mean, sir? Why not say, "So help me God"?
Excuse me. If you insist, I will.
No.
If you insist, I will.
No, you see,
The point is,
yes.
If you want to, you answer. If you know the answer,
You say you don't answer.
know.
I prefer
But
the affirmation because
I remind counsel that this commission is to investigate gross violations of human rights,
Yes, sir.
not to investigate the fraternity.
Yes.
Unless it abridged your right,
Yes, sir.
then a petition. But we are just listening to you. We don't want to stop anybody.
well, to save time, I'll answer him. Although I don't want to get to the subject of religion.
Yes, sir.
I'm not a Christian. I am not a Muslim.
Thank you, sir.
And
It's
I'm
all right,
not
sir. I'm
even
all right,
an
sir.
animist.
I'm all right, sir. I'm most grateful.
I believe in humanity.
I'm
I'm
most
a
grateful.
humanist.
You are neither a Muslim or Christian.
I'm a humanist.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm most grateful. Sir, I'm sure you know. Do you know, sir, that proceedings upon the alleged violations of members of the society within the period of 14th April 1997 to 14th November 1997 is being addressed before this honorable commission, sir?
Yes, and I make a point of mentioning it in my submission so that there is no duplication.
Very well, sir. And I'm sure you are aware too, sir, that evidence on even the issue of this alleged human rights abuses have not even been commenced upon here, sir.
Not in Abuja, but in Port Harcourt and Enugu.
Yeah, I said particularly they were consolidated, but particularly that of Enugu, evidences have not even commenced on them.
Oh, I do not know what the actual position of the hearing is.
And in that respect, sir, if you don't know about the position, sir, you agree with me, sir, that you will not be too safe or too sure of being able to recommend whether anybody's right has been violated or not. It has not been established.
I would like to invite counsel to look at the date on these petitions.
Yes, sir.
The first petition was written in my anxiety to make sure I did not miss the deadline.
Yes,
and
sir.
later on, I then took the trouble to start investigating other cases which I considered linked with me. My point before this panel, this commission, is to say that certain people have suffered, have undergone inhuman treatment on account of me. And therefore, any weight I can lend to their petition, it is my moral responsibility to do so. This is what I've always done in all my life.
In Enugu, sir, your human rights were not violated.
In where?
In Enugu. Between the days of 14th April 1997 to 14th November 1997, your human rights were never violated in Enugu.
Wale Soyinka?
Yes, sir.
No, not in Enugu. No.
Very well, sir. And whatever you are told here, sir, is an information given to you.
I investigate.
Now, I just want to recap my...
Look, even during the Abacha days, we had a very strong investigative network which uncovered a number of the atrocities before they became known to the Nigerian people. And if the panel wishes, I can give you one or two examples
Lastly,
to show you how efficient we were at our investigation.
Lastly, sir, your petition alleges issues of brutality, material losses, torture, and murder. My simple position to you, sir, is that as the case with respect to Enugu concerning the member of the parish is concerned now, that recommendations start suspended unless it is established there is a violation. Because it is before the commission.
This is the work of the commission to decide who's lying.
Thank you very much, sir.
Whether it lies on this side or on your side.
And you are working for your money.
Professor
Yes,
Shoyinka.
ibi tí eléyìí tọ́ sí nìyẹn ẹ jẹ́ ká ganu sí i mo máa play another one fún yín ta ló fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀.
ó yá ayẹyẹ wa o, wọn ní ẹ tún ganu sí i.
ẹ jọ kí ni ìṣòro tí bọ̀bọ́ yìí gbé dání gangan.
Ìkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ni pé òkúta panel is what they call spinning.
abájọ
What they are trying to find out is human rights abuses during the Abacha and Babangida regime, the advent of cancellation of June 12. But I think he's a state prosecutor. He's trying to divert the attention. They call it spinning, political arena, we call it spinning. So he's trying to spin to deviate from the subject matter. That is the abuses that was carried out by the state security then. And they were using Shoyinka's antecedent, being a founder, one of the founder of the National Association of Sea Dogs, to undermine everything that they affect the Nadeco kind of people then, the people that are fighting the Rwandans, Major Naliaki Ade and co, whatever they've been doing then, they are trying to undermine whatever Shoyinka wants to say. He's a state prosecutor. That's why it's good that this thing is here now. I wish some of those children that are shouting up and down social media saying so they see this, that there's a particular set of part of the country that they've been using to undermine Nigeria moving forward. When a particular country perpetuates evil, they push out some people from particular side of the country to defend the activities of certain part of the country. Because that guy, we all know where he comes from. And we all know who perpetrated the evil, and we all know who is coming out now to defend that evil. So, that's just it. It's one of them that was used to go and take an overnight injunction to stop the announcement of June 12 election. It's one of them that was used to use earnestly in support of Abacha then. It's one of them. That is, if we start mentioning him, the so-called front runner of the national party, the so-called messiah they are shouting at, is one of the boys. Peter Obi was one of the people that was used then. It was Akaloji Ato Izeribe. Then Benua Braze, the Benua was first republic. It was one that cancelled the regional constitution. So they've been using this particular set of the country to undermine democracy in Nigeria. But they would not come out and start talking rubbish. So when people support Obi, I just laughed. If you know that instead of these people, I always tell people, there is no Nigerian politician. If you are in Nigerian politics for 20 years,
Okay, so before she comes back, I want to ask a question. And I want somebody to relate it to justice for me. Why should another person be responsible for someone else's action? If we go by the question that the cross-examiner put to the professor, he was asking why were some certain people that were not admitted into the G7 Sea Dogs confraternity, the Pirates confraternity, why were they doing some activities, in their own way? Why should those people's activities, why should Wole Soyinka be responsible or be answerable to them? Let's now link it to justice. Why should, let's say, Wumi be responsible?
Be responsible. Mm-hmm.
For the actions of so many other people involved in this case?
Why should we even be responsible for the life of Mohbad? Emma Benedict starts up. Bonjour, everybody. How are we doing? How was our Saturday afternoon? Quickly, I think that's the mentality.
Orí bọ́tù mélòó lẹwà chọ́bí mi ṣé Saturday afternoon la wà yìí?
Àbí kí ló dé tẹ fi bọ̀njú wọlé?
Sod.
Hey.
Sunday afternoon. Èmi náà kọ̀. Kí ló dé? Má ṣe lè kíyàn kọ ni. As I was saying, it's so how should I call it now? It's so ridiculous of us in I don't know if I should say human or Nigeria generally, because if we look at it, everybody wants to among me alone to be responsible for the death of Mohbad, while we have every other person. It's so easy to point fingers. One, to me, I'll start from poverty mentality. If we look at what happened to Mohbad, and if Wunmi comes from a very wealthy family, this would not happen to her. They wouldn't even try this with her. But because Wunmi comes from, average, or should I say average or middle, I can't say middle class family. So that is why, they think they have every right, to question her just because of the little change that every one of them, especially the people that are in abroad, they believe that, they are richer than people in Nigeria, regardless of the ethnicity. That is their mentality, that they are making money and they are richer than the people in Nigeria, so they can talk to them or, treat anybody anyhow that they want to. So, ma.
Now,
Yes, ma.
Wale Soyinka is being interrogated, cross-examined on this case. Me too.
Wale Soyinka not about. Okay, my son.
I'm a link.
Okay.
Majorly because, Mom, be here for me 1 minute, ma. Majorly because he started a confraternity, which his objectives were totally different, but was misinterpreted, or let me say from the beginning, was miscommunicated, misinterpreted by other people.
I think the word miscommunicated shouldn't even be part of it, because I think everybody understands what Wale Soyinka. Everybody understand what. Sorry.
Continue. Wale Soyinka started this whole thing, even though his own objectives were different. But some other people hijacked it because they have hidden agendas, hidden purposes for whatever Tofeshe. Now let's bring it back to Wunmi. Everybody is saying Wunmi was the one who posted something on her Instagram handle, on her story. She started it. Oh, she said, industry gods, come and take your trophy. You have paid him now. Kineko. That is basically why we are here today. They are holding on to that fact. Wunmi's objective was not to call out, was not to say Mohbad was actually paid. It was just a lot of backstory that she knows and some other people.
Yeah. One, I don't want to say lack of education for us Nigerians, because if you look at it, first I saw looking cool, right? So I don't want to say it's lack of education for some of Nigerians, because there are some things that, like Wale Soyinka, like what you said, that, he started this confraternity thing, and now everybody, and remember, maybe it's Nigerians, I don't want to say human, wherever or whatever Nigerians put their hands or, join, they would always have a, what word can I use? They would always have that, I don't want to say, it's not a stupid idea. I'll tell you what's more fellow. But they would always have a way to, when somebody is there, this is the, this is the head, this is the person that is, doing this and has been doing it well. Somebody will come. That is where hatred, will I call it hatred or jealousy or um, what kí ló máa ń pe àwọn people yìí tó máa ń wò pé power pé everything that they have the power to do, power hungry people. Yeah, I don't know if that, yeah, power hungry people. They want to be the one in charge. They want to do this their own way. And we have wicked souls out there. We have wicked individuals out there that have their own agenda. So whatever you are trying to start, you have to think about it. There are other people that has their own agenda, not your own agenda of this is the way it is, this is the way it's supposed to be going, and this is the way we are going to be going about it. The other people that wants to bring you down, or that wants to subject you to something, subject you to something ridiculous, subject you to ridiculous thing that you started. So I guess maybe I should say that is Nigeria for us. That is Nigerian human beings for us.
Okay, to support what Chubby has said, example, every one of us, any student of history, we know that the Sea Dog has nothing to do with the violence in cultism. That is another faction that break out from the National Association of Sea Dog, which is the Sea Lord, their Laura, which is the Buccaneers. They are the one that broke out from the original pirate confraternity. Even till now, pirates are still on campuses, the Sea Dogs, but you can never hear of them. You can never ever hear of them unless you have opportunity to be in a certain situation. So what I'm going to bring, likewise, these people know that what Wunmi wrote on an Instagram on that day has nothing to do with the death of her husband. It's just that we always play the ostrich. We always look for an excuse to victimize people. That is it. What the lady wrote on that day has nothing to do with the husband. She wrote out of the pain of what the husband has been going through the years, which every one of us, any student, anybody that has, we all privy to what that girl and her partner has been going through. And she lost that guy. Her pain, she wrote that thing out of the pain. We all know, but they are being mischievous. They know they gaslighted that they are wicked. So they're just looking, they are grasping at the straws just to look for an excuse. They are calling a dog a bad name just to anger. Likewise, what that guy did at that Oputa conference, because he knows that the Sea Dog has nothing to do with the proliferation of cultism and the violence on campuses. He knows, any student of his knows that it's the Sea Lord, not the Sea Dogs, but intentionally spin it to undermine whatever Shoika want to say at that Oputa panel that day. So it's the same thing these evil people did to Wunmi, because everybody knows what she wrote on that day is true pain. She wrote it. It's a reaction to what happened to her husband, and it's as a result of what they've been going through for years, the trauma. So they know. It's just that they are just looking for an excuse to victimize her. That's just it.
So, sorry, Duke Olua. So Wole Soyinka started this.
The Sea Dogs. That's National Association of Sea Dogs. Yes.
This in quotes secret society, secret court.
It's not that secret though, Uncle. It's not that secret.
Yeah, but the exclusiveness, the way of initiation and things like that created a fancy foundation, sort of made it a trendy thing then. So should we absolve him totally of responsibility, moral responsibility, I mean, in all this? Because come to think of it, the so-called every other people that broke out from the original G6 is because at the point
they are called Magnificent Seven.
At the point they were part of the G7. Wole Soyinka and the other 6 students. That's why they were called.
Aware Okpele
Yo,
and Ike.
yes.
Bobo Ike,
So
Access Bank, Babe.
because they were part of it.
He said, hold on.
So how do we absorb them fully of fault, of blame, of all this? Because at a point, tabak pori aja, ama pori kokoto fise. So how can we truly, morally absolve him of all this?
Okay, we can, in the sense that because of the way what they want to do is the objective of the association. That is why they broke up in the first place.
Sorry, Killer Sobisi.
Money, we can to some extent. We can. Though they found that they have their purpose, they have their goals, their objectives. But when the other one, when some of them want to go the other way and they see that this is contrary to what we plan, this is contrary to our objectives, they parted ways. And up till now, they are still operating on campus, but you can never know them. You can never hear their name. Because they have criteria.
You're still not getting where I'm driving this to.
Mo gbọ́ ọ̀kọ́ tẹ̀yìn sọ pé tó bá wọn ní founder láti lè wá. Mo ní because tó pọ́n jẹ́ founder yẹn gbà tó rí pé àwọn eléyìí àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan fẹ́ yọwọ́ nínú àwọn pé ọ̀nà bí tá à ń lọ kọ́ nìyí wọ́n yapa.
Nígbà tẹ́ ti wá dálẹ̀ tó ń kọ́ you have made it fancy, you know, the initiation style, the rites, the names, it has become a trend.
But then it was only intellectuals. It must the magnificent who is who in Nigeria now.
I understand. Okay. I'm saying morally, is Wole Soyinka truly free of all blame in this?
Actually, he has said it's one of the regrets that he has in his life. It was quoted that says it's one of the regrets. One of the regrets he has in his life. He said he does have many, but finding that is one of.
No, I can do it. Yeah.
Okay. Somehow, that's why, from where I stand, I'm trying to drive this conversation somewhere else now. Because, yes, if you are forming an organization, it's just like if you're giving birth to a child. If you're planning and say, oh, we've gotten married, it's now time to start giving birth to children. I think that is a very crucial stage where you have to look at everything like, are we really ready for this? Do we have the time to devote to train up this child, to make sure this child will not become wayward eventually? Is it now morally wrong if we now blame a parent, or if we blame parents for how their child turned out in life? Are we going to be wrong if we put some fault, some blame on parents?
I don't think so, because you do your best as a parent to direct, to do whatever is humanly possible to teach your children, your child, the right way. But you can't factor in the environment. You can only control what is in your own vicinity.
So when children misbehave outside, they do anything, we can just say, oh, the parent did a good job. Go away. Is the children and the society. We absolve the parent of all faults.
No, we are not. Most like we always have like in UK, we have epidemic of people. Most of them come from a good home. Most of them, their parents are doing the best they can, but they can only control what happens in the house. And I'm telling you, even till now, most parents in South and East of London, East London, when they have any child between the age of 13 to 25, they are always like, I don't think their mind is always as stressed until the children, whenever their children, whenever their child or children goes out, they'll be waiting until that child comes in. They do their best. I don't think nobody will not want to trade their children, but you can only control what you can control. You can't control the kind of the peer pressure out there. You can only teach them what you can teach them. It's not left for them to take on board what you've teach them. There's no manual to this thing. So that's just it. There are a lot of factors contributing, but the parents, you do your own. It's not left for the children to take what you taught them on board, and we pray and everything. That's why prayer comes into play again. In as much as I'm a humanist, I believe in like a power above, kind of an extra power there that will just help, because all these children, you can shout for money tonight. It's only God Almighty that will help us to direct them. That's
So
just the
we
best. You can only do your best as a parent.
we can equally say, yeah, maybe he was young then. I mean, Wole Soyinka, he didn't have the foresight, sort of, or he didn't think deeply to
But
know
you have
that.
to remember, these guys then, they're in their 20s.
Yes.
They are not
So,
as wise as they are now.
so
They're
in
20s.
retrospect now, should people really sit down and think when they're trying to start up something, form something, and look at ways that thing can be perverted before
That
going
is
into
why
it?
I think that's one of the reasons he said he regretted that. One of his regret is forming that thing. They have good intention. They want to go out there, be like watchdog for the fellow students, to watch out for children, student be oppressed by all those. So, but when some of them want to go the way that they are not allowed, they don't want it to be. They did agree. Those who want to open their own shop, he can only control what he can control. The only thing he can control is you can't be part of us if you want to deviate from what we lay down as the objective of this organization. And they can't stop them. Freedom of association can't stop them from opening their own shop. That's just it.
But then I still feel it's
And even as
neither
of
here
then,
nor
they are not
there.
as bad as it is now.
I feel it's neither here nor there with Wole Soyinka.
No man is infallible, so that is it. So, in as much as we respect his intelligence, as of there, I don't think most of them envisage what the outcome will be. They don't have it. They can only be responsible for their own, like they can only for what they can only control what is within their capability, what is within under their control. They can't control what is outside their purview, kind of. So, to some extent, it is what it is.
Mr. Pythagoras, it's just like when you have a company, right? And you are the head of that company. You know, you are the Oga in that company. In that same company, there will be another Oga that you don't know is Oga, and that there are some people will be loyal to. And that is just, I think that is just the way when you create something and you be like this, you are creating this thing with your open mind, believing that it's going to be a successful one, and believing that people would truly want to do the right thing and be truthful. But unfortunately, while you are doing that, that is when there will be that just one person, that Caesar and Judas, yeah, there will be that one Judas that would always, look at what you do and be like, your guy is gone up, or guy you gonna see it, we can do this thing, we can go this route. It's just like any other person. Okay, this is the longer way to, you can take this long way and you can take this short way. Some people will want to take the shorter way, not thinking about, okay, whatever repercussion to buy machine. So I think that is just, to me, that is the way I see it. He was young, he started this thing, never knew that Talomo máa bí àwọn ọmọ tí wọ́n bí sí tẹ́ pé children of nowadays, I don't think they understand anything. So to me, should he regret? Oh yes, or start here.
Mo fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ question kan ni wípé I'm going back to the morals tí Pythagoras lẹ́kọ̀ọ́. Should we say that he didn't do his vetting properly, because I want to believe that, because, like he said in the cross-examination, in the session he had here, that they were properly vetted before admitting people into their confraternity. So could it be that he didn't do his vetting properly? One, could it be that those that broke out to spite his group or to ruin his name or the purpose and objectives of the confraternity he put together?
Okay, Sister Rika, share when the fraternity was formed in 1952.
Yes, ma'am.
And by the time they I think it's almost 10 years later, which it wasn't life have taken over. He has his life to live. And it's not even on campus anymore. So it's not, I think it's the subsequent people that they gave the reign of the affair of those are the ones deviating. Another example now. As of now, when we are in school, there's some certain name that if you mentioned on campus there, you will be weighing on yourself. And I tell you, if that certain people go back to campus now and talk to some of these children, I don't know if you get it.
Benima.
If you go there now, if they go there now, go to campuses and tell these children like, oh, there is no gain in this thing, blah blah blah. I beg, wait till this what they talk. Make Baba know the yarn of that one at your time. That is it. Doing that, so they were like, we are obsolete, like or the those children is only God. But when we are in school, if you mention those certain names, even the whole of if the whole of Nigeria go, if they hear that name, some people would wait for body. But if they go to campus now, a year one student can gun them down. So it is what it is.
Yeah, well, sorry, I quickly rushed somewhere. I'm back again and I'm taking us back there again. So, my position and my question still remains. If you created the structure, yes, no matter how noble the structure is, and the structure has now become this cancerous, now monstrous. So, what is your responsibility in creating that structure? And again, yes, I know Wole Soyinka gave us so many things. You want to say justice, poetry, protest, even pride, because of the awards he's getting here and there. But then, don't forget, he also gave a blueprint to what others are now using for blood. So maybe he didn't pull the trigger, so to say. Yeah, but then I think he helped carve the gun itself. So what is his responsibility in all this?
But I did hear he said he regretted. He took responsibility. The cat has been let out of the bag now. He can't ask them to go back in. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, it's like
he took responsibility.
Okay, what do you want him to do? Okay, it's like America gongo fulani gongo. When they employ people to all the CIA, FBI, sometimes they don't know they are, hiring their own enemy into it. Until when something happens, that is when they know and they'll be able to say, oh, so all along, the person might be there 10 years, might be there 15 years, and they will not know. So, I did not really hear that fully. I did not hear you Soyinka, all those things fully. But Mommy, this is he has accepted that he regretted. I don't think if he had known that this is what is going to become of it, he would show it. But he has regretted what he did. So what else do you want him to do? He cannot go and caution them. He cannot tell them to, even your own kids that you give birth to, there's limits to what you can tell them. It's just like now, I'm at work, their father is at work. Tell them, you guys don't go out. If you go out, you're going to be in trouble. Okay, Let me quickly give a quick example. Our front door, we have a security camera. The garage, we have a security camera. Only the side door, we don't have a security camera, which is the sliding door. Because our quick side door, maybe it's not clean. That side door is where my second son will go out from, because some of them, there's no security camera there. So they would always do what they want to do, regardless of what you tell them, regardless of how you put this thing, regardless of you trying to manage it to say, okay, you guys, this is my, this is what I'm foreseeing, this is what I want it to be. You will always have that Judas.
So, a simple question to everybody now, both panelists and comment section. So, should Wole Soyinka himself, do you think he should be held accountable for what confraternity became? Yes or no?
Okay.
No.
It's a two-way thing. Yes or no? Yes and no. He has taken it, but Pythagoras, I don't think you know the epidemic of these things on our campuses. And I can tell you categorically, with my whole little experience then, some of these guys is not even, Wole Soyinka has nothing to do with them. Some of these guys become hired hand for politicians. And when money start coming into these things, when they became hired hand and untouchable, that's what led to the unnecessary violence. When you have problem with a school administrator, they will instigate these guys to come and meet you in your hostel to warn you. That is why I always tell people.
Somebody gave a blueprint to all this.
But then they put, look, let me tell you, the objective is to stop the management oppressing students. By the end of the day, it's now, look, the management are not even using them to oppress students. I don't know if anyone is aware of what happened in 1999 in Ife. The Ife 9, or is it Ife 11? Those guys. Nobody can tell me that everybody, all Nigerian students then knows that the school management is aware of what happened. These guys become hired hand for the politicians and the university administrators.
Who made it to be this trendy? Who gave it this fancy look? Who gave it this?
Your politicians, especially in Southwest region and the Southeast.
It's the person who created it. Who made it as an exclusive club?
It was not an exclusive club. That exclusive during that time. The exclusiveness then
were women allowed?
No, let me tell you, the exclusiveness then was intellectual. People that
women were not intellectual then.
Yeah, what I'm saying, during their own time, it was, you have to have certain aura, you have to have certain depth.
During that time, you don't have any woman or lady or girl with a match that can match their intellectuals then.
There is no woman. There is men. Go and look at the Magnificent Seven. And go and read their history. Go and see what they are. Who is who intellectually?
Like you already mentioned it, that they didn't want women amongst them.
There was no women there.
Yeah, so that's why I said he created an exclusive club.
But that one is, our society is patrilineal and it's chauvinistic in nature.
He was exclusive with the gender.
He was exclusive with gender, and because we are even a chauvinistic society.
No, Lagbaja, what are you talking about? Jesus did not create Christianity. Some people
look, let me tell you, even this thing did not happen until he left campuses. He has already left school.
Some people created the religion, the Christianity after Jesus left. They decided that they want to behave like Jesus.
He was not even in charge when these people deviated from the normal thing. And I think when the school management start infiltrating them, start sending people to join them, because they became like the watchdog for management and oppressors of students by lecturers. That's why they started infiltrating them with stooges. And then Wole Soyinka no more on campuses then. So to some extent, you can't blame them. This
Yeah,
thing
if
we
they
all
were
know.
not campuses, they were still you can see the question they were posing to him, that you are
Because
still
they want
the
to use it
spiritual
they want to
leader.
use it to
They still take
undermine his testimony.
inspiration. They
Even
still no. They still take inspiration from him. He still commands some form of respect,
as of the
even up
time I
to
was in
today.
school, if a student union leader, if you want his attention, if you want his advice, his door is always open.
See, even
So
as of today, even gbogbo àwọn Bukani and gbogbo àwọn people yìí, if Wole Soyinka walks up to any of their capon today, he will still have some influence over them.
Bàbá àwọn ọmọ tó wà tà àwọn ọmọ yẹn ò gbádùn o.
Àwọn ọmọ wà ní capon wọn, ṣáwọn ọmọ yẹn ní capon wọn ni.
Àwọn ọmọ tó lè polójú yẹn má yẹ kán ẹjọ́ torí ẹ fi bàbá ní bàbá lẹ ọ try èèyàn lè dá tán. Àwọn ọmọ tó gbàgbó yẹn. Ìjọba bá tójú ẹ̀wọ̀ lẹ̀ ni kò gbọ́dọ̀ bá bàbá kò so mọ́. Ọmọ yẹn ò gbàgbó. It's like Showore going back to Unilag and start talking to their student union president. I'm like, I beg you go and sit down, Jerry.
Oyima command some degree of Oyima need some degree of influence, Lori, whoever is there. It's always like that. It's just like Obasanjo deciding today, okay, I want to go and visit the Asoro. Wọn lè ti mọ́ta, ọkọ̀ lè dá dúró pẹ́ síbẹ̀.
Okay, nísìnyí
Àlàyé o book appointment.
Wọ́n ti wá tún ṣe tí wọ́n fẹ́ gbọ́ ṣe mọ̀ pé wọ́n ti wà ládùúgbò nsìn, wọ́n ti wà ládùúgbò street by street now. Wọ́n ti wà ní estate.
At the end of the day, Oyima ní leader tó máa link wọn mọ́, even ní àwọn àdúgbò yẹn.
But this proliferation,
now going back to
the violence did not start for the late 90s and early 2000s now.
Now let's look at what we have today.
Okay, I know that violence in the 80s and the 90s.
So what has, according to Prof there, what has Professor Wole Soyinka, what has he done really for activism against cultism, apart from some press release here and there?
Okay, what can he do now when school management has some of them on payroll? And when a prominent politician has them as higher hands? What can he do? I can categorically tell you, most of the House of Assembly in Southwestern region, most of the leaders are one time or the other in these things. They are all in various corridor of powers now in Nigeria.
So okay, I can tell you one thing Wole Soyinka can do. I know because he's still the spiritual leader of some of these groups, even though some of them might not even have we can't even say they don't have their roots. They can't trace their root to him. All the root of these people can be traced to him.
I did like to, you have to remember there are 7 of them. What about the other 6?
Hold on, ma. So Wole Soyinka knows some of these people. How about starting with naming and shaming them? Maybe they can stop.
Now or when?
Now.
He doesn't know any one of them anymore. Let me tell you. I said these people are in estates. They are in streets.
We know, you know them. Wole Soyinka, we know them. Ṣé ìfẹ́ sọ pé ẹ̀ máa wọn kan ní àdúgbò yẹn àbẹ́ máa wọn kan tẹ̀ ti gbọ́n pé eléyìí bàbá yẹn ni eléyìí kúkà ni.
It's not even about student anymore. Bus conductor one club.
No, not we know them. Okay, see, now let's get it. Let's get the room heated up now. We all know Abu Ebel is Babeye.
Èmi ò dárúkọ èèyàn náà ní bá ti ń jẹ́.
Èmi ò mọ̀ pa bóyá kẹ́ bọ́lẹ̀ ẹni tẹ́rù bá ti ń bá kẹ́ bọ́lẹ̀ lórí panel. We all know. So, what has Wole Soyinka done in this respect?
To realize that he can't even do anything because there are even opposition. Like if one side is associated, if one side respects him, he becomes an enemy to the other side. Because it is so thorough. And when university administration, they are the one that call these boys.
And we are saying no.
We are not talking about the vice chancellors, the registrars.
I'm focusing, BC. I'm focusing on what Wole Soyinka can do with his influence.
He can't do anything now.
What he can do with his influence and with the fact that he created this structure bearing in mind that he created the foundation for these monstrous societies. So he should be able to do more than these so-called people you're naming, saying they are the founders or they are the ones bankrolling these people. I believe he should be able to even take some bullets. Yes, it would be a tough decision to make, like to name some people, which I believe he knows them personally. So why can he not do that as a form of, what do you call it again now? Penance. When ti dákẹ́ láti dárúkọ bàbá ẹyẹ báyìí
this thing now, Pata, Baba is in his 90s now. This thing, they created this in 1952, which was approximately that many years ago. Almost 70 years. If I'm not, almost 70 years ago. And they did not start the butchering of each other until late 90s. In the 80s, nobody even knew they are on campuses. You understand? And you do realize, don't you see that the proliferation of their violence coincide with the military regime in Nigeria then? You have to know this thing is the tentacles of the people that influence these people.
Now that you're saying the tentacles, people you cannot even mention, how about if I now turn the table on you now and say maybe Wole Soyinka náà ni bàbá àṣàlẹ̀ wọn yìí náà òun ló front back, because we cannot deny it. We cannot deny it that Wole Soyinka has influence in the government too and in the world. Tó bá jẹ́ pé òun náà ló yìn fún àwọn people ní backing lọ́nkọ́ ní pé you know what, one arm should do the legal way, the other arm should free for business.
But he has spoken about it several times. He has said that he regretted ever. If there's one thing in his life that he regretted.
He should not stop there by just saying he regretted.
But what do you want him to do now? Because
I have given you
there are a lot of factions now. And they even, if
yes,
you can faction,
you should just mention one or three factions. We know the major ones. And I know we know some of their leaders, the major ones.
Èmi ò mọ leader kankan lónìí bá ti jẹ́.
Ó wà lára yín.
N kò mọ nǹkan kan.
Àmọ́ ti gẹ́ yìí náà ni wọ́n ti gé iṣẹ́ yẹ.
Ẹyẹkẹ, ṣé ká yọ jẹ ni ká fi ṣe ká roast àbí wo?
Ṣáyà yìí já ni.
You know, I was on this platform one time like when we were talking something.
Ọ̀yà ẹ̀sọ́ tó délẹ̀.
No, ẹ wá orí.
Ó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ ṣe ẹ̀rọ ọmọbọ́lá jẹ́ kó mú ẹ tiẹ̀ jẹ́ kó mú ẹ ṣùgbọ́n. Anyway,
ẹ protect ìyàwó yìí bọ́lá bọ́lá àti bọ́lá sọ.
Ajá ọmọ tiẹ̀ ń fún lọ́mú kí n má protect ẹ jẹ́ kó ṣọmọ lọ́mọ léṣe fún mi.
Ṣé ẹbí tó yẹ pé à ń ṣe ẹ̀sáàmù lọ́wọ́ a parí ẹ̀sáàmù ẹni ẹ jáde nínú ẹ̀sáàmù olùbáyìí wọ́n dẹ̀ gọ́ọ̀nù ẹ̀ dáhùn lójú olúwẹ̀ ṣé ìyẹn máa lóhùn òrì.
Nepalẹ̀ quiet lọ yìí nígbà tó ti.
Àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá gbò.
Kò sẹ́ tó fẹ́ wá sókè kó wá sọ̀rọ̀.
Mr. Pythagoras, mo busy ni o, èmi ò bẹ̀rù o, mo busy ni o.
Jẹ́ ká fún yín lórí díẹ̀. Ẹsẹ̀ díẹ̀. Jẹ́ ká jó. Wọ́n ní bí fìkìlà ìtàkì tó ṣe pápápá ẹ̀.
Àyè má bínú o, ẹ jẹ́ sáré.
Ẹ jáde lè jò ẹjọ́ sórí ńgbà yẹn o.
Mr. Pythagoras, ṣé mo bá àwọn onídọ̀tí yẹn náà lọ máa sáré ba nǹkan jẹ́?
Ọlá money, ó kẹ̀kẹ́. Especially tó bá jẹ́ ọmọ final year gbà yẹn báyìí. Wọ́n ṣe exam ẹ̀ máa wò fòkìfòkì ni. Actually confirm. So yeah, that's right. Economics ni. Addition mo bá tó jẹ́ wọlé. Mo gbọ́dọ̀ bá ọmọ bá kò so mọ́.
Maybe say ti wọ́n tó ayé o tipẹ́tipẹ́. Ẹ jẹ́ àtúgbẹ́ yín dẹ̀.
Wọ́n fi kẹ́kẹ́ ilẹ̀ sáà tó wà náà lọ. Gẹ́gẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ bí tẹ́ndẹ̀sì. Ẹni kẹ́kẹ́ mú kẹ́kẹ́ ó ṣe náà mílíọ̀nù. Àwọn tó lọ sọ̀rọ̀ náà.
Kí ló sọ? Kí ló ń wí? Kí ni nǹkan tó ń sọ yẹn?
Àwọn elédè wọn ni kẹ́ bèrè lọ́wọ́ ẹ bèrè lọ́wọ́ Bísí ẹ jẹ́ interpret fún wa.
Ó mọ nǹkan kan. Ìpínlẹ̀ tí ní orí wèrè yìí ọlọ́mà ní.
Ká máa sì wá lọ.
Ṣáwọn pa ẹ̀ ṣáwọn.
Sì wá lọ.
Báìbù ẹ̀ lálẹ́.
Táwọn ẹlẹ́mu nìyí.
Ìwọ lẹ́fẹ́ ká play gba ṣe ká play tàwọn àlóhà ní àbẹ̀wò.
Ẹ má dáwọ́ lóhùn bóyá wọ́n fẹ́ kí n máa play tàwọn tìbítìbí fún wọn. Èmi fẹ́ bèrè question kan sí. Kí ló dé tí wọ́n ti take over àwọn tí mo play orin wọn tán yìí?
Ṣáwọn kẹ́ guide.
Yes.
Wọ́n wà interwoven ẹgbẹ̀gbẹ́.
Wọ́n wà intertwined.
Wọ́n lọ́kẹ̀. Ó ti dá. Okay, now I get it. So ká sọ pé 80% ló ń ṣe táwọn tìbítìbí yẹn, 20% ní táwọn tí Wọlé Ṣóyínká yẹn. Because it looks like we have more people with evil minds, criminally minded people. Because Baba go mention ẹ pé àwọn ọmọ tó wà ń tàn sí àwọn political people yìí tó ń lò tó ń rán wọn ṣẹ́bi. Mommy Bisi also mentioned it now. That's why. No, mo sọ ní pé ẹ ti mention ẹ pé àwọn politician wọn máa ń lo àwọn ọmọ kọ́ọ̀tì yìí láti ṣẹ́bi wọn.
Òjèrè ń gbà yẹn kò sí ìkọ́ táwọn ọmọ yẹn lè ṣe láyé Gbẹ́ngà Daniel wọ́n máa ń mú jẹ ni.
Torí ẹni mo ṣe bẹ̀rẹ̀ nígbà yẹn pé ṣé ó dà pé wọn ò vet wọn dáadáa àbí ṣé wọ́n mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ ṣe láti spite nǹkan tí wọ́n dálẹ̀ yẹn ni.
I think ṣe mọ̀ pé some of them will be overzealous ṣe mọ̀ pé agbára máa ń gúnyàn. Ṣe mọ̀ pé most of their so-called top shot ẹ máa bá wọn jẹ máa bá wọn bọ ẹ̀dẹ̀ nímọ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan pé wọ́n wà nǹkan kan máa ń quiet wọ́n máa wà easily going. Àwọn aláriwo àárín wọn àwọn tó jẹ́ nǹkan kan ló máa ń pariwo wèrè jù. The so-called be like àwọn tó yẹ pé tó bá ṣẹ́jú báyìí ẹ̀mí lè bọ́ lára ẹ̀ you won't know them they go easily. And then ní school tẹ́mi lọ o tí ẹ bá gbọ́ pé wọ́n ya ẹni ilé kan náà ẹni tó jálè kan náà yẹn tó bá jẹ́ owó títí ẹ̀ ló kọ́kọ́ bá a dá òun ló máa kọ́kọ́ ṣe they don't go for innocent people. Nígbà tẹ́mi wà ní school mi wà á mọ̀gbà tí mo kú o tó bá gbọ́ pé wọ́n ṣe lágbáyà báyìí léṣe gbogbo akọ̀ máa gbé sọ pé wo àwọn náà mọ̀ bí tọ́jọ́ fúládé kọ́ tó gbàgbé òkú rẹ̀. Àkọ́ tó kọ̀ máa ń dùn mí gbà mí pé àwọn tó bá yẹ girlfriend wọn kọ́ lè fìgbà tí kọ́ fi palo kò sí wọn pé.
Girlfriend tí ò bá ṣẹ̀
wọ́n lè jókòó lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ ṣùgbọ́n tó fẹ́ gbé kọ́ yìnbọn fẹ́ tó fẹ́ yìnbọn fún lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kò sí tó kàn ẹ̀ ẹ̀ńtọ́ yìnbọn fún yẹn tó bá jọ́wọ́ tiẹ̀ náà ló kọ́kọ́ bàbùn òun ni ó kọ́kọ́ ṣe nígbà tèmi wà ní school mi ò lè sọ ètò àgbàtà wà lọ́wọ́ sí àwọn girls Victoria máa ń dín gbàjú some of the girls kò ṣe pé wọ́n fẹ́ ọkọ̀ fẹ́ náà bí akọ́kọ̀ gbà wọn létí láti ṣe ránṣẹ́ sí ọlọ́rọ̀ wọn pé àwọn yẹn máa gbéyà ìtorí ìyẹ́ ẹ̀ bá dẹ̀ bá wa ìtọ́ bá nífẹ̀ẹ́ tó bá pé wọ́n nífẹ̀ẹ́ dáadáa wọ́n lè lọ gbèjẹ́ padà wọ́n lè lọ gbẹ̀sọ̀ bọ̀ tó bá yẹ pé wọ́n kàn fi ń pa fún ni ó jẹ́ gbà tí yẹn ó jẹ́ fọ̀nàtì ni.
Ẹ jẹ́ ká continue láti máa gbọ́ bàbá wa ẹ jẹ́ kí n continue play fídíò wọn mo bọ́ ẹ jẹ́ fún mi ìṣẹ́jú kan.
So, but then at the end of it all, it's a call for reflection that yes, you might have the best of intentions. Sometimes life just takes you where you don't want to go. But at the end of it all, you still have to be accountable. Anything you do, whether you had good intention or not, you are still responsible, primarily responsible for your own actions. Continue.
All right, sir. Mo ń gbádùn cross-examination wọn. I think this is the beginning of the stuff.
I, Wale Soyinka, do solemnly affirm that the evidence I shall give before this Honorable Commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and so I do affirm.
Okay.
Your full names are Professor Wale Soyinka.
That's right.
Where do you live?
I live in Ajebo Estate, Abeokuta, partially in the United States at the moment.
Láti bẹ̀rẹ̀, kí ló gbé fún tó fi take oath yẹn náà?
Mi ò rò pé gbé kankan fún wọn o. Ẹ jẹ́ àtúnwò. Àwọn ni.
I,
Gbé kankan fún wọn.
Wale Soyinka, do solemnly affirm
Gbogbo yẹ kó gbé bí ògùn fún wọn ni. Ògùn lákàáyé ọ̀ṣunmọ̀ lọ.
Torí mo mọ̀ pé bí atheist ni, mo fẹ́ wo nǹkan tí tó fi take oath ẹ̀ ni.
Wọ́n ló kankan wọ́n kàn gbọ́wọ́ sókè.
Okay.
Ọ̀tọ̀gá yìí ti mọ̀ pé kò ní dá kò ní ló bá ní kò ní lo Quran.
before this Honorable Commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and so I do affirm.
Yeah, Busayo, the video is available. They also spoke. I'll find it and play it if you want to listen to it.
Your full names are Professor Wale Soyinka.
That's right.
Where do you live?
I live in Ajebo Estate, Abeokuta, and partially in the United States at the moment.
What work do you do?
I'm a writer and a university lecturer.
Now, since when have you been a writer and university lecturer?
I've been a lecturer since early 60s, and I've been a writer for a few years longer.
Could you give a background of your professional qualification?
The background is literature, theater. I don't know what other background you would like. I trained in the university like other people, and then went on to become a teacher myself.
Now let's go back a little bit to your past. Could you recall what you did as a student in 1952?
Yes, indeed. I was, like other students, involved in the social life, socio-political life of the university. And I formed with 6 others the very first student fraternity in the whole of Nigeria, possibly in all of Africa, I don't know.
And what is that the name of that fraternity?
It's known severally as the Pirates Confraternity or the National Association of Sea Dogs.
Now, what was the idea behind the formation of the fraternity?
This was the immediate pre-independence period when students were very much alienated from their environment. They considered themselves inheritors of the colonial mandate. They were very elitist, felt extraordinarily privileged, and feel themselves part of the general society. And so this organization was set up to break through that mold, to fight petty tribalism, etc., and to give the students a new socio-political consciousness, make them feel members of their real, not their imagined society.
Now, would you let the commission into what contributions, if any, the confraternity had made or is making to the socio-political situation in the university as at then?
Well, let's begin at the very beginning. In 1952, that was the period when the very notion of blood donation was brought to this country, and the first vans visited the university, and the Pirates were the very first to donate their blood in the student community. Other activities have included fighting drug abuse, drug proliferation in the community. It's included, for instance, adopting motherless babies. It's included giving free medical service, adopting villages to which members of the fraternity who were doctors would go and, I think once a week or weekends or whatever, give free medical services to those adopted villages. The fraternity, for instance, collaborated on that last note with the Commissioner for Health in Lagos State some years ago when it adopted a village in Lagos, and certainly collaborated with the NDLEA in fighting drug abuse, in holding seminars in education among communities, and there are other activities much too long for me to recount.
Now, you've heard about some abuses in universities and tertiary institutions, which were associated with some other clubs. What are your comments about those? Are they related to the confraternity?
No. There has been a lot of distortion of the original ideals of this student fraternity by other groups. The founders of these other groups, you will find, and you check from the record, were usually either those who'd been rejected by the Pirates Confraternity, their conduct simply did not qualify them, or else had been kicked out of the fraternity, or else simply wanted to set up similar associations on their own along certain very warped notions of what fraternities are about. And these cults, we call them the campus killer cults, the KKK, have absolutely no relation at all to genuine student fraternity, which is a normal university culture in most parts of the world, the United States, Germany, Britain, etc., etc. Some of these cults, I beg your pardon, these other so-called fraternities, were founded, you'll find, usually by children of the elite, with spoiled backgrounds, children whose parents enjoyed impunity in social life and extended that impunity to their children in universities. They are the real criminals of campuses.
Now, what you have described so far is the confraternity associated with such behaviors?
The Paris Confraternity has never been associated with such conduct. On the contrary, the Paris Confraternity has organized numerous seminars, symposia. I remember the last one I attended was in...
My Lord, I'm sorry, Professor. I'm sorry to interrupt proceedings, but Your Lordship, the petitioner filed a petition before this Honorable Commission, and he has completely abandoned that petition because we have parties here who are appearing in the petition concerning the confraternity, the Paris Confraternity, my Lord. So, my Lord, we humbly request that he confines his evidence in chief to his petition, unless he wants to abandon his petition, my Lord. That petition has not even been tendered. It's not before this Honorable Commission.
Please, my Lord, I take the hint of my learned friend, but the question of the confraternity is adequately dealt with in the supplemental petition, which is dated January 25th, 2001. I would eventually tender it, but I want him...
You haven't tendered it. Well, I think you tender it first, mark it, then he can read it, and it's easier if he reads it.
Oh, I thought, I take your Lordship deal.
That's much faster if he tenders the 2 petitions. If you like, he will read the 2 of them, or read 1 of them.
My Lord, it does appear as if we have walked into a veritable ambush. We were not served with a copy of this supplemental petition.
Only 1 copy?
Only 1 copy we have, my Lord.
Well,
and that's an ambush.
We can make copies if you can give us... we can make copies, but normally you give us, each commissioner have a copy.
We sent...
If you give us what you have, we'll make copies for you.
My Lord, we sent enough copies to the commission, and my understanding is that they were delivered.
Your Lordship, if we may clarify the situation, what my learned senior is referring to as a supplementary petition is actually...
Send copies to the commission.
Your Lordship, that is a completely separate petition filed by the Sea Dogs Confraternity. The professor was mentioned there because he was their founding father, but it's not the same as this petition, my Lord. That was why, if you noticed, we listed it first on the timetable because we were aware he would most probably appear in that petition. So if professor is going to be a witness there, my Lord, we humbly suggest that that petition be taken first. Or alternatively, he may abandon this or tender it as, I don't know, but the 2 are being mixed up. And there are counsel here who are appearing in the other petition, my Lord. And they haven't announced appearance for this petition.
Pytha, fún àǹfààní àwọn tí gbogbo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tí ó yẹ, ẹ bá wa yọ̀nà ẹ̀ fún wọn.
Tí n bá máa lè parọ́ fún yín, mo ò follow yín látẹ̀ǹkan. Madam ò jẹ́ follow yín látẹ̀ǹkan.
Okay. Ẹ má gbádùn, ẹ jẹ́ ká máa gbọ́ lọ.
Irọ́ mo ẹ̀wọ́ lọ̀rọ̀ máa gbádùn, mo sọ pé mò ń gbádùn, mo kàn sọ fún wọn jẹ́ kí n follow yín ni.
Ó yé mi bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn náà ni ká má di trouble proceeding tó lọ.
Proceeding kọ́.
Ẹ má ṣe lọ.
Bọ̀ kí lẹ fẹ́ ká ṣàlàyé ń bẹ̀ náà?
No, I think there's a mix-up of petitions. There was one that he was listed as a witness and all of that. So that won't dapo. ni mo ṣe fẹ́ kẹ́ bá wa ṣàlàyé ẹ̀. But if you don't mind ẹ̀yin tá a jọ ń wò ẹ jẹ́ ká sáré dá padà kó lè ṣàlàyé ẹ̀ kó lè yé àwọn èèyàn dáadáa. Àmúpa làwọn kan ní FYP. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n gbé láti ibi tí lady yẹn ti bẹ̀rẹ̀.
The fraternity, the Paris Confraternity, has organized numerous seminars,
from the point lady
symposia. I remember the last one I attended was in...
My Lord, I'm sorry, Professor. I'm sorry to interrupt proceedings, but Your Lordship, the petitioner filed a petition before this Honorable Commission, and he has completely abandoned that petition because we have parties here who are appearing in the petition concerning the confraternity, the Paris Confraternity, my Lord. So, my Lord, we humbly request that he confines his evidence in chief to his petition, unless he wants to abandon his petition, my Lord. That petition has not even been tendered. It's not before this Honorable Commission.
Please, my Lord, I take the hint of my learned friend, but the question of the confraternity is adequately dealt with in the supplemental petition, which is dated January 25th, 2001. I would eventually tender it, but I want him...
You haven't tendered it. Well, I think you tender it first, mark it, then he can read it, and it's easier if he reads it.
Oh, I thought... I take your Lordship...
It's much faster if he tenders the 2 petitions. If you like, you will read the 2 of them, or read 1 of them.
My Lord, it does appear as if we have walked into a veritable ambush. We were not served with a copy of this supplemental petition.
Only 1 copy?
Only 1 copy we have, my Lord.
Well,
and that's an ambush.
We can make copies if you can give us... You can make copies, but normally you give us each commissioner have a copy.
What we
have, we make copies for you.
Okay. Wọ́n jọra náà.
Ilé tó lè wá dàbí lọ́yà láì Masabi.
To the commission, and my understanding is that they were delivered.
Your Lordship, if we may clarify the situation, what my learned senior is referring to as a supplementary petition is actually...
Send copies to the commission.
Your Lordship, that is a completely separate petition.
Pythagoras, Mr. Pythagoras.
The seed of confraternity. The professor was mentioned there because he was the founding father, but it's not the same as this petition, my Lord. That was why, if you noticed, we listed it first on the timetable because we were aware he would most probably appear in that petition. So if Professor is going to be a witness there, my Lord, we humbly suggest that petition be taken care. Or alternatively, he may abandon this or tender it as, I don't know, but the 2 are being mixed up. And there are counsel here who are appearing in the other petition, my Lord. And they haven't announced appearance for this petition.
Now, have you seen the other file? 1474, the other petition. Are you in it?
No, I am not. I'm not in that one. I am in 14...
It looks as though he is a witness in 1474.
Well, what...
You mentioned him too.
Yeah, all right. What we have done is to file a supplementary petition to the original one. And he is only to lay a foundation and leave the details to the others. I just want to take him for only 30 minutes. I'm not calling him, I'm not representing the Association of CEDAWs. I'm representing Professor Wole Soyinka, and it happens that part of his petition touches on
1474.
Yes.
We haven't got the supplementary, and then the one we have is only 2-page petition.
Yes.
if we save time by reading the 2-page petition, and then they will be making copies of the supplementary if you haven't got additional copies. When you have that, then you will read that too.
Everything that is needs to be said has been said in the supplementary petition.
In the original, in the supplementary, the original, we have the original. I'm saying, let's start with the original. Give us a copy of the supplementary, then we'll make copies for members.
As my Lord pleases.
Leonard Senior, do I understand you as wanting to abandon the original and taking on the supplementary?
Well, that's in effect what I'm going to do.
Well, then the matter has been formally, taken up.
Yes.
You abandon that, then tender the supplementary, and then we proceed.
So basically, Professor Wole Soyinka, he sent 2 petitions to the commission.
Okay.
You know, when they created the Oputa panel after Abacha's demise and all, gbogbo atrocity to committee.
Yeah.
Everybody they were bringing in their own petition, the human rights abuses, everything that was done under Abacha's regime. Yeah. So Wole Soyinka's initial petition was about how Abacha's regime has persecuted him, tried to defame him, tried to spread lies about his character and things like that. Then he now submitted an additional petition, supplementary, so to say, that now borders around what's it called? That now borders around the confraternity itself.
Okay.
Which was later discussed. So the other lawyers there were raising objection that which one do you want to talk about? Let's take it one at a time. But the lawyer of Wole Soyinka wants to, kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Right.
So that's what they're going back and forth about.
Pythagoras, you know why he did that? Why he came with the confraternity? Because during that regime, during that period, because of his activism and how effective he was, they are using that confraternity issue to slander him.
Yeah, mo fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ lẹ́kùn yẹn pé ṣé petition tó kọ nípa ti Abacha yẹn, was Abacha defaming him based on that?
Yeah, the government was defending him. They were seriously defending him with confra. If not, most people wouldn't have known about his activities with Sea-Dog.
Right.
But
yeah, everything. I think as at that time there was this what's it called? There was a publication there, Conscience International.
Right.
And there was different, according to Wole Soyinka, the details in that publication were lies fabricated about his life. So that was what brought the main petition. So, but then the inclusion of the Sea-Dogs and other was just for him. It's an avenue for him to address that issue openly and on a national scale. That yes, this thing has turned sour, but then it wasn't the intention, and I didn't create the monster you have today, sort of. So Wole Soyinka, in a way, with the supplementary petition, was trying to do some PR for himself.
Apart from being a PR, he was saying the truth, because even that's why I said, if you notice the violence of those people then came to her during their regime. They intentionally used those people to destabilize university campuses and to destroy student unionism. Because there's got to a state that if you want to do student union election, if you don't pay homage to some of these guys, or you don't allow them to pick candidate for you, forget it. It won't be effective.
Yeah, but you know the persecution for Wole Soyinka by Abacha is not just about confraternity.
So, but they use all tools, no láti fi bàjà. They instigated
so that's why the confraternity issue was not the main issue. He had its main issue. Ìjókòó wò pé confraternity ẹ fẹ́ máa yí mi love tẹ fẹ́ máa love mi love fún lé lórí gan. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kó address ẹ once and for all níbí náà.
Because they instigated those confrat to destabilize campuses then. to discuss
No,
student
in your own opinion, you can't say that for a fact.
But okay, to student unionism, that they infiltrated even student union, because during that June 12 era, student unionists, they used NANS as an avenue to mobilize Nigerian students then, but they used most of it. They infiltrated those NANS. Cover Shore was in lag. African code in Ife. There is this guy in ABU. Even this Dino was in ABU too. Zaria, I don't know, man, it could be a touch of back. And there's another guy in Edo. I think the Edo guy. I don't know what happened to it. So there are lots of them there. But
Edo guy.
So I don't know, Mr. So they used some of these guys to infiltrate student unionism then. Now when you have a meeting, lale before 7 o'clock, you would have seen machine kini moto Thomas assassin to that be tank, armor tank in front of your school gate. So they instigate. So and when they use it to infiltrate campuses, when violence breaks out, they will now use that violence to break out to slander Wole Soyinka but they are the one that instigating. That's why some of this thing is like the tentacles is too much.
Yes, I remember this.
Tẹ́ bá ṣe meeting lálẹ́ báyìí, tẹ́ bá ṣe meeting lóru mọ́jú pé báyìí la ṣe máa ṣe báyìí, tẹ́ bá máa dé school àárọ̀, gbogbo ẹ̀ tẹ́ ṣe meeting àdá ọlọ́pàá àmì àti lọ gbé wọn lé, ẹ bá dé déwájú campus ẹ̀ ti rí armor tank níwájú campuses, especially in southwestern region. I don't know of the other parts of the country. So that is so they infiltrated student unionism. They used them. The military regime used them.
Then you say student union.
Àwọn àbẹ̀ ọmọ mi bí sí wà ń bẹ̀. Wọ́n ti lè sọ pé báwọn mọ̀ ń pẹ́.
Mi ò mọ̀ pa ẹ̀ o.
Ó dáa, mo ti gbọ́ yín.
Àwọn ìyá ayé ni ẹ.
Ẹ jẹ́ àwọn àbọ̀lọ̀.
So that is what is happening now. That is what happened then. So that's why I came out, because they slander him too.
When
that's why I say
the original one was written, he did not have the benefit of advice.
Sorry, just one moment. I am sure that your client knows much more than that, and I don't think that.
Hold on, Sister Dukia. Ṣé ẹ gbọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀? No, mo bí sí nǹkan tí mo ń try láti jẹ́ kẹ́ pick ní pé ó ti kọ original petition. Ẹgbọ́n kan tí lọ́ọ̀yà ń try láti cover up fún pé kò ní legal advice, kò wà properly advice nígbà tó wọ́n kọ initial petition, pé later upon advice lọ́sẹ̀ wá include supplementary yẹn pé a máa lè lo opportunity láti address kìíní náà, àlàyé jẹ́ àjọ ọmọ ká lọ treat ẹ̀ papọ̀.
I'll cover up on Ben. That's true. I got that.
That Prof didn't know what he knows now. I think that if you look at his petition,
what he knows now.
The thrust of his petition has to do with, that is, I'm talking of the original petition that was sent.
Yes.
Was the violation of his rights.
That's right.
This is Father Kuka.
And some agents that is very clearly mentioned here.
Yes.
And I would have thought that a lot of the things that we're talking about, sea dogs now, is already going to come in two of those petitions that we took in Port Harcourt. And I thought that unless you want your witness to, as it were, move away from this and align himself with the petition that we received in Port Harcourt. If not, the main issues here, and I think if you want to withdraw this petition, then you might as well do that, and we close this and then move on to take the other petition, because it seems to me that the issues that he raised here are very fundamental. He mentions specific names of those agents of government that he is solely responsible. And I thought if we moved on to that and disposed of this case, a lot of the other things you're talking about, sea dog confraternity, will definitely surface when we take petition 1474.
Now, my own approach to it is that he suffered what he suffered during the Abacha's regime as a result of his involvement in student activism and all what have you. And I am laying the foundation so that we eventually move to that. And it won't take me more than 30 minutes.
And so I don't have a problem with that, but I think that
your client, there are very few people that will associate your client with anything other than the international statesman that he is. But if you wish to reduce him to his membership of or his foundation of the Sea Dogs, of Association of Sea Dogs, it's fine. But I think that the issues here are much more than the issues of his being a founding father of the Sea Dogs. Is not very relevant to what is in his petition. I imagine that what you're saying is you're simply inferring, but it seems to me that if you read the petition, you will see very clearly that he has got, and even one of the petitions that we received from, I think it was Professor Oshuntokun, that the issues we're dealing with are issues that are a bit familiar to all of us. And I thought, as I said, in order not to move away from the very serious nature of the issues of the violation of his rights that are contained in this petition, that's why I think going back to this Sea Dog business, not only is it time consuming, but we're still going to come to the issue because we have two petitions that are dealing with that.
I take the hint and I thank the honorable member for the enlightenment. But what I'm trying to do is to go from the known to the unknown.
With respect,
may I make a contribution?
With respect, sir.
Is it allowed?
My lord, I'd like to say that if my learned senior insists, we can consolidate the matters, and that should be fine with us. But we have to be in the matter that has the Sea Dog issue in. I thought so. That's why I said he'll be a very good witness in petition 1474.
Yes, my lord.
But if you want to tender, pursue 1403 alone, when we are considering the case, we have to consolidate the two because they have so many things in common. All right, what do we do now?
Can I talk to my... Yes, is it possible? Or can I speak to
You know, Baba ti púpọ̀. Ẹ má gbé Baba ń gógó.
To receive this, and this becomes an elaboration of the first one. It seems as if you have a supplementary one. That seems to be the problem. Well, this is an elaboration. Can we substitute this? I'm speaking as a layman. Yes, can you withdraw that and substitute this?
It's quite interesting though.
Or you consolidate it or something. We sent this other one ages ago.
Yes, please. My Lord, I have given the original. I thought the commission had enough copies because we sent enough copies to Abuja, but I've given them the original. I don't think it's in the interest of Professor Soyinka and members of his confraternity to withdraw the original one. I don't mind if they are held together. I don't mind. While, so as not to keep the tribunal waiting, may I tender the original for him to read, and then we can move on from there.
All right, the original exhibit 1. Show him the original petition. That's a supplementary. Are you abandoning the original petition? Or you tender it, he reads it, you tender the supplementary, he reads it.
I will tender the two together. The original and the supplementary.
All right, original exhibit 1, supplementary exhibit 2. Mark them and give him to read exhibit 1 first.
My lord, I would like to enter appearance if the matters have been consolidated.
Appearing in
In 1474, my lord.
No, we're not talking about 1474. We're dealing with 1403.
Okay.
It has not been consolidated yet.
Okay.
1403.
Wàhálà ẹ̀yin lọ́ọ̀yà pọ̀.
So, do you want the two cases consolidated?
No, I want the original petition.
No, we have another petition by the Sea Dogs.
I don't have a copy of that. I have not
Do you
been
want to consolidate with them?
No, I don't.
Pursue your own? It doesn't.
I don't want to.
Go on, let's have time.
My lord.
Read Exhibit 1.
I should read this.
Read Exhibit 1. Give him Exhibit 1.
Yes, I have.
After that,
My lord,
Exhibit 2.
Your Lordship, I'm sorry, my lord, we don't have the supplementary to Exhibit 1. We can't follow well.
It's being photocopied. Just listen and make notes.
Thank you, my lord.
Oh, my lord, I assume that in the second petition, it affects my client. And so that's why I'm wondering whether...
So you're appearing in 1403.
Yes.
Announce your appearance, then record his appearance.
1474, my lord.
Yes, but we are talking of 1403.
Yes, my lord, but what I'm saying, my lord, is that the new petition, the second supplementary petition, affects my clients.
Announce your appearance then.
Mrs.
Stop you talking because I talked to a client.
No.
Announce your appearance in
My name-
1403.
Yes, my lord.
All right.
My name's Gime Joyowika. I appear for Mr. Musa Abdul Kadir and Mr. Festus Wamai.
Then read Exhibit 1.
My Lord, it's dated August 13, 1999. It's addressed to the Secretary, Human Rights Commission, the Presidency, Abuja, Nigeria.
With utmost humility, my lord, just as my learned friend is being affected by petition number 1403, my lord, I was originally supposed to, my lord, to appear for petition number 1474. And it is that my client who have been summoned to petition number 1474 that I have originally appeared here. And since the supplemental, my lord, is going to touch substantially on the Sea Dogs.
Announce your appearance.
nípa àbẹ̀wò ló ṣì sọ̀rọ̀ tó bá máa sọ kókó sì lọ.
orí kan oníṣùtù ọ̀rọ̀.
ṣé wọ́n pe Ṣóyínká lẹ́jọ́ ní báyìí ẹjọ́.
támákì náà ti bá mú ṣùtù ẹ̀.
Pàtà ṣé wọ́n pe Ṣóyínká lẹ́jọ́ ní báyìí.
irọ́ ti pẹ́ òkúta panẹ̀ gbà ẹ́ ni.
ókè ó ti pẹ́ ókè bóyá recent ni.
mi ó dẹ̀ rojọ́ wèrè announce appearance kó jẹ́ ká move on jọ.
bí ó ti bọ́ puta.
ẹ̀yin Pythagoras ẹ̀yin lọ́ọ̀yà wàhálà yín pọ̀ o lọ. yín pọ̀ kí.
Abbas, appearing for Brigadier General Sule Ahmed, retired, and Captain Ahmed Taiwo.
àwọn radical lawyer jọ sílẹ̀ lẹ́yìn radical lawyer.
àwọn lọ́ọ̀yà ti tẹ́ ní gbé wá nìyẹn.
Appearances.
àwọn lọ́ọ̀yà tẹ́ ní ọmọ ológo.
None.
ṣé yìí kan ta fi rẹ̀ rí iṣẹ́ fún àwọn èèyàn kú gan sí.
Oh, another appearance.
kí lẹ wí.
wọ́n ti mọ̀ pé nǹkan tá a fi rẹ̀ rí iṣẹ́ mọ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn kú gan sí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni agbọ́nùtàn ṣe
I respect my lord. I'm a little bit taken aback. This is because just mere reference to Sea Dogs in the petition in which the professor is appearing does not call for appearance of all the other counsel in the matter. Doesn't call for it. I am lawyer to the association. I'm not appearing in this matter. Therefore, I'm the founder. How does it have to do with it? doesn't. We have passed the issue of the confraternity. We came here, we gave evidence. We are prepared to meet them when they are putting their defense. So, my lord, this matter is just reference. I am. They shouldn't come in and smuggle themselves into this petition. Were they
They say
parties?
their clients are
We are not
affected.
what they did
But
in.
hold it. By this
Yes, my lord.
second additional petition.
Yes, my lord.
If that is correct, what's wrong with their appearing
My
to
lord.
defend the interests of their clients?
My lord, we are not here to duplicate things.
Secondly, this is not an adversary
Yes, my lord.
proceeding. It's a fact-finding proceeding.
Fact-finding,
So as many as we can have to elicit facts, the better for the commission.
My lord, their clients were not mentioned there. Their clients were not mentioned there. Their clients were not
Are
mentioned
you
there.
opposing the appearance?
I'm opposing it.
wọ́n lè máa lo òkúta ní báyìí àbí báwo.
Ṣẹ́rí irú session tó fẹ́ kọ́ ṣe lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Mohbad lélẹ̀.
Their clients are not appearing there.
No, I'm not believing. This is a national killing.
I know, but what I'm saying is they want this kind of open life.
Bí Papariado wèrè wọ súùtù bẹ́lẹ̀ ṣe wọ súùtù yìí kọ́.
I was to other bridge.
Jimba coat.
Olùṣàárí araba kẹ̀tì. Because I really, ó dàgbò kí kíní ìgọ̀lẹ̀ bí tu ẹ̀ kọ́mọdé bí tu ẹ̀ kú sí. Pàápàá ẹ̀dùn rẹ̀ wá ní. Ọlọ́ka ọmọ líle wọn pa wọ́n. Táàbí rẹ̀ ni táwọn kọ́ máa jàjà.
On the fact that we have a matter affecting their association on the basis of which we are here to meet issues of the association.
So eléyìí gba òkúta panel.
Yes, my lord.
Wọ́n ní outcome ẹ̀.
Yes, my lord. What I'm talking about.
Àjọpọ̀ waste owó Nàìjíríà náà ni.
My lord, the professor.
Nǹkan tó ń fi commission ṣe náà nìyẹn.
No, but
wọ́n find anything out náà.
No, I'll find it. See, at the end of the day, it's a fact-finding commission. They will find the facts, not like they will present the facts to you like a fact. During the sittings, during the proceedings, people will hear some revelations. Do as you please with the facts or with the things you hear from there. There would have been some things you have been hearing before, and when you now see some documents, some evidences presented in that commission, it will only confirm your suspicion that, kini ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ lóòótọ́, things like this happen. There were a lot of stories about the Sergeant Roger, bó ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ sí bó ṣe ń pa àwọn èèyàn àti kọ̀ọ̀kan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. But with documentary evidence, people were able to now say, truly, bọ̀bọ̀ ìṣe one or two things tí a gbọ́ rúmọ̀ pé ó ṣe ń gbà yẹn. Ó ṣàná àwọn rúmọ̀ tá a máa gbọ́ pé tí ó bá máa shoot èèyàn láti Oṣòdì dé mile 12, ó kàn ní láti nàbọ̀ ẹni pa, ó máa báyọ̀ yẹn bí tó ti máa mú. But from documentary evidence, we're able to see that this guy went to different highly skilled training abroad. So you will know that this guy is a skilled sniper. So you will know that he was capable of doing something.
Did the Delegiwa's issue came up at Okuta panel as well?
Delegiwa, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Because I know about Kilo and Togo.
Yes.
The DSS guys, yeah. Always love our way, Louis democracy now. Moko shit.
Falana one beg by.
Mogbo.
Falana too. I think Falana was there. Ganifa Emit was there. They all presented their case now.
Mogbo le one beg.
Torí mo kàn máa wà ọmọ tó máa ń ṣe ìrànlórí TikTok. Don't pariwo if they know what people went through. Àwọn company náà sọ pé community wa gba ìjọba mo ní à.
They were not born then.
Wọ́n bí ìyá ẹ̀dá kò gbọ́ àbáṣà ní newspaper. Ìjọ́ kejì báyìí wọ́n máa wá ọ̀tá ẹ̀tì ni.
Tọ́lọ̀ bá dẹ̀ máa mú ẹ kó assign the case fún Sergeant Roger.
Roger àti ẹ gbà ẹ.
Àbáṣà yẹn ti ẹ̀yà wèrè.
Ọ̀nà ògóró wà wọ́n ọ̀nà ògóró wà mú.
Àbáṣà yẹn yà wèrè o.
Ọdún tó bá ti jí báyìí tó bá ní Roger, are we still in power? We are still in power. Ọkọ̀ ẹ̀ ti balẹ̀ nìyẹn.
Ọ̀nà ògóró wà mú ọ̀pá ọmọ ẹ̀ lójú ayé ẹ̀ bàbá ẹ̀ ràbọ̀ràbọ̀ ẹ̀ ló bá lọ. Afẹ́rẹ́ àwa ní Ìkòyí bóyá Ìkòyí náà lọ ka mọ́lẹ́dé tó yẹ kó máa wà ọmọ ẹ tó máa ń jábọ̀ wèrè especially àwọn ọmọ yéé àwọn òkúrè máa ń jábọ̀ wèrè lórí electric ní ti gbogbo ìṣìtẹ́ ìsọ lórí Facebook lórí TikTok yìí òkúlẹ̀lẹ́jà ń ta ni láti wẹ̀yìn àtàwọn ìyá yín tì wọ́n máa sọ sọkúsọ.
I mean, there's nothing bad in seeking knowledge. So that
wọ́n ti gbàgbé fẹ́ẹ́ darkman wọ́n ti gbàgbé ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wọn wọ́n bá pàdánù.
But then again, let me play the devil's advocate again. For some people advocating for military rule, there were some things that were that was possible because it doesn't require the bottleneck you usually see in a democratic regime. It only requires somebody, the head of state, to just say,
make a decision, Abi.
Let's do this, and we do it.
Okay.
So things works faster. But then, because absolute power corrupts, absolutely.
But due process have to take place. Even if I'm guilty, let me go through due process. You as an individual.
Yeah, you're looking at that aspect. I'm looking at the aspect of providing some social amenities, doing some things to help.
The only thing they did is they treat people like
I'm
animals.
not talking about Nigerian setting alone.
Okay,
I'm talking about military rule generally.
They say, and when you respect the money, I was telling people, was it the way they treat people like animals?
Professor Wole Soyinka said something. The road safety commission was done under Obasanjo. And under Obasanjo.
What safety commission was under
the first one? The first one, yes, under Obasanjo. Then it was disintegrated under Shagari, the Ìjọba Alágbádá. And we know the good things Professor Wole Soyinka did under him then. So you can see that, yes, of course, the vices will be more.
I know the creative People's Bank.
But people were happy then.
But people, let me tell you, lot of the problem we have is with the people. Our politicians are their own fault. People's Bank, àwọn èwo ló gba lóòótọ́ ọ̀dà pàṣẹ báwọn èèyàn náà ni. Tí ìjọba bá dẹ̀ lọ lé wọn sí tó bá lọ gbé tí property rẹ̀ yìí náà lè máa tún ké pé wọ́n lè ṣe báyìí fún wọn. It's like our leaders are a reflection of where people like to be treated like animals. Ṣé kẹ́ sọdá títì ṣé wọ́n ní láti sọ pé kẹ́ má sọdá títì gbà tó ṣe bridge. Ṣé ó wá dìgbà táwọn wáyé àwọn wáyé gbà yẹn tó bá máa kó kòbókòbó wọ́n tó máa ní kó máa kú kó máa ga. That's what people want to be treated.
One number not pardon.
There was one exam my husband did. He wanted to write. So there was something his mom wanted to go and submit. It was just few more minutes for that office to close. He's like he go preach.
But that is human. But that is human. But you can't be treated. We don't need to be treated an animal before we do the right thing. But people are going to be treated like animals. Ultimately, the left from your right, or she bridge. She be talking care me ele guno she bridge. And what so that bridge to ba kobo. So the ba she go koko ni ngbo ni.
So could that have been handled another way? But to teach people the lesson, but not treat them like animals.
You can give them tickets, but the database no matter tickets in.
No, tó bá mú ọtọ́ tí ọmọ lẹ́pọ̀ yẹ pa àwọn èèyàn yín kọ́ wá béèlì yín àbẹ́sọ bí tẹ́ wà fún wọn ẹ máa ṣẹ̀wọ̀n ọjọ́ mẹ́rin àbọ̀jọ́ márùn-ún.
That is dehumanizing.
No, pé yàn ṣẹ̀wọ̀n no so àwọn tó ń tì mẹ́wọ̀n
kọ́. ní kọ́ máa ṣe kí baálé ilé máa ṣe kó máa kúrú kó máa ga ẹ̀ kó máa fọ́n jọ̀pù. That is inhumane. That is humiliating. Èwo baálé ilé baálé ilé náà wà bí ẹranko náà.
Why humiliating? Community service.
Ní fún community service nígbà yẹn máa ní kẹ́ máa ṣe kó máa kú kó máa ga kó fẹ́ tí ẹ mú wọ́n máa fi kòbókò nù ẹ lẹ́yìn.
Community service náà ni kó máa kúrú kó máa ga àwọn tó fún community service kọ́ lọ́ máa ṣàlẹ̀ kiri títì nǹkan wọ̀ kúrú wọ̀ ga.
Ó ṣe di bẹ́ẹ̀ bí lágbègbè.
UK mi báyìí.
Ó ṣe di yẹn ọ̀nà fún sáwọn èèyàn lára wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe nínú àwọn kan náà nǹkan tó ṣe máa sọdá. náà mẹ́wàá sọ we want military mo kàn wá pé ẹ̀yin ọmọ yìí ó ní ìpinnu ìyá bàbá ẹ̀bí láwọn ìyá bàbá yín nulẹ̀ àtà bàbá yín gbogbo ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ̀bú Buhari ẹ̀ náà ẹ̀gùn ẹ̀bú Tinubu pé kiri kan ẹ̀yin ayé ìgbà tí bàbá wà ń bẹ bàbá ní ìgò dúdú ìgò dúdú yẹn máa gbé sójú àtọ̀sọ́ àtàlẹ́ bó ṣe ń wọ̀gùn ẹ̀ nìyẹn wọ́n bí ìyá ìdáwọ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ó sì máa wọ àmọ́yàwó yẹn tó tọ́jú.
àwọn tó ń búbu náà àwọn yẹn ṣe tó ń pọ̀ aláì tó bá fẹ́ pa kò pa wá o mọ̀ pa ẹ̀.
most of them sá lọ ni ibu bàbá tó sọ̀rọ̀ yìí ṣe bí Nadeko to Benin Republic náà gbà jáde àwọn àti Jagaba àti Tinubu tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ yìí Benin Republic ni Kútọ́nù náà gbà lọ. àwọn àti General Lali Akínyàdé àwọn Ìbítukùn ló forí fa ní Port Harcourt ìrìnwá lè forí fa ní Ìkòyí ìgbà tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí pa wọ́n ní gbogbo bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí sneak out lẹ́yọ kọ̀ọ̀kan náà.
Let's go.
The professor.
Let's go on, please.
My lord, the professor is here with the great respect, sir. With the greatest respect, sir. The professor is here on his personal human rights violation. We can do it like this, sir. For if I can help the commission. If they are saying that the supplementary petition touches on the association, he can join that. They can join that to the other petition. And let him go on with the original about his human rights violation.
Go on with the original, but the supplementary petition, they say, will touch their clients.
Well, your clients were not mentioned and they were not.
Why not wait until he reads it? They will know.
What is wrong with this boy?
Have you read the supplementary?
Yes.
All right then. They want to listen to it. Read the first one.
Sir, it was thanks to the coincidence of my visit here to deliver a lecture at the University of Cape Town, South Africa on the 11th of August, and a conference on the South African Truth Commission leading to discussions on the Nigerian counterpart, that I discovered that a deadline had been advertised for the submission of petitions to your commission. May I therefore begin by pleading that an extension be granted to those who are currently based outside Nigeria. Many of them are still beyond Nigerian borders for reasons which are not unconnected with the purpose of your commission and may indeed have some useful material for you to consider. My case is not one that I consider at par with a number of harrowing experiences you are bound to deal with. Nonetheless, I believe that the framers of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights recognized an area of potential damage to the human persona when in Article 12 they declared no one shall be subjected to arbitrary attacks upon his honor and reputation. I accuse the Abacha regime of having contemptuously violated that provision in the most sustained and unprincipled manner with regards to my person, utilizing the full machinery of its ministries of information and foreign affairs for this diabolical campaign. Among the numerous embassies in Europe, Asia, Africa, and America that we used to distribute a glossy publication cynically titled Conscience International and published by a hack named Chief Abiola Ogundokun from an Abuja office donated to him by Abacha's presidency, I propose to single out the Nigerian mission to the United Nations. I shall present a copy of the issue that was devoted almost entirely to advertising lurid, nauseating details of a fictitious life for the person of Wole Soyinka. It was sent to the president of my university, Emory University, Atlanta, with a complimentary slip of the information officer of the embassy. Suffice it to say that even as a student of world history, with all its seamy intrigues, I do not know of any single individual, not even during the Joseph Goebbels era under German Nazism, who has ever been subjected to such an unscrupulous campaign of character assassination as I was during the regime of the late Sani Abacha. I may also add that this journal also flaunted a London publication address. On checking it, we discovered that that it was fictitious. Let me assure you, sir, that I have taken legal measures to bring the most assiduous agent, Chief Abiola Ogundokun, to justice. A libel case has been instituted in the Lagos High Court and a date has been set for hearing. I also attempted to sue the Nigerian embassy in New York for dissemination of libel, but was informed by my solicitors that the embassy was covered by diplomatic immunity. You will see, therefore, that as stated at the beginning, I consider my own persecution somewhat outside the class of, for example, the purge of Ogoni leadership or the callous murders of individuals such as Kudirat, Abiola, etc., or the experience of physical torture by hundreds of innocent people whose only crime was association, often merely alleged, with democratic activists like myself. I would therefore have preferred, under normal circumstances, to limit myself to the normal processes of legal redress. Those were not normal times, however. I consider it important
Low battery.
the world be made to understand what was done in the name of the Nigerian people. The resources of government were abused, and normally decent civil servants were compromised in the course of their duty. It is my intention to request you to summon Chief Abiola Ogundokun, the information officer of the Nigerian Commission, the then ministers of Information and Foreign Affairs, as well as the ambassador himself, Dr. Gambari, whom I challenged in New York during my well-publicized meeting with the recent head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, and in presence of three of my colleagues from the Democratic Movement. Dr. Gambari will testify that a box containing these odious concoctions were indeed sent to the embassy from the ministry, and that he was duly provided his own copy. He will repeat what he said were his reactions on leafing through the publication. From India, Canada, Tanzania, Germany, France, etc., I have encountered journalists, diplomats, NGO and human rights officials who were recipients of complimentary copies of this document. In addition to the unaccustomed psychological turmoil to which I was subjected, I shall inform the Commission what deleterious effects this campaign had on the collective efforts of the democratic movements to mobilize world opinion against the brutality of Sani Abacha's dictatorship. Signed, Wole Soyinka.
Now, before you read the second one, you've mentioned the publication. Would you look at this?
This is the publication.
I seek to tender it.
Exhibit 3.
Now, would you direct the attention of the Commission to those parts of Exhibit 3 dealing with you?
The cover, of course, very prominently. Pages well, a glossy page is unnumbered, opposite page 10. Oh, sorry, beginning from page 10. Page 10, and the opposite page, which doesn't seem to be numbered, but which must be 11. Page 12, 13, no, that's Area Patriot.
I'll just check from the photostat which I've made of the relevant pages to make sure I miss nothing out.
Photostats.
Just can I go back a little bit? I see there is also, no, page 8 is not important. Yes, page 13, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. Election.
You've also mentioned that a copy of Exhibit 3 was sent to the president of your university.
That is correct.
Yes. And how did you come to know about this?
The president sent it to my head of department, Dr. Bird, who then passed it on to me.
Now, the copy that was passed on to you, where is it?
I'm afraid it met with an accident, Your Lordship. I lost my bag. I've been carrying it around steadily, waiting to be summoned to this Honorable Commission. And a very strange incident took place in Charles de Gaulle Airport about a month ago. And I lost a number of documents, a bag, etc., etc. And it included this particular copy. But I wish to state very clearly that the president of my university and my head of department are quite prepared to swear sworn affidavits in the United States and forward them to this commission.
Yeah.
Now, you've also mentioned that by the connivance and deliberate of the Nigerian nation abroad, the copies of Exhibit 3 were sent to many missions. How did you come to know about that?
Well, I traveled quite a lot, virtually everywhere during the Abacha reign of terror. And we had friends in a number of missions who were very decent people. And I also encountered journalists to whom these publications were handed over directly by missions. So we had our own intelligence network as well, Your Lordship.
Now, would you tell the commission what is your complaint about the involvement of the Nigerian agencies abroad in respect of the circulation?
My complaint is a very simple one. This is a very cowardly and sick attack on my person, on my life, on my history, on my achievements. One which also smeared by association all those who believe in the same cause as I did and still do, and who fought alongside me and other people. It created an kind of embarrassed existence in which I was talking to people all over the world. I never was sure whether they'd seen this magazine.
Right, so that's the end of that. I think the videos are just cut everywhere, but the major one, so what do we have to say? How did we find this session?
Maybe I can do a recap of the contentions of Professor Wole Soyinka.
Yes, sir.
So basically, his main petition. So basically, the main petition the one they call the petition
Mr.
14.
Pythagoras, ẹ má bínú. Ṣé kẹ́ recap ló fa àtẹ́wọ́ ni àbí kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀?
Wọ́n pàtẹ́wọ́ fún dúkìá olúwa ni.
Mo rò bẹ́ẹ̀ give recap ní mo gbọ́ di ẹ má bínú. Mo ní ìbéèrè.
Àbí kí ọ fẹ́ ká mọ̀ pé mo wà pẹ̀lú yín, ẹ má rò bí a mọ̀ sí bí yìí o.
Lágo mélòó?
Pé ká má lọ jábọ̀ sáìzì wa.
Ẹ ṣí ṣọ́ọ̀bù lálẹ́ ní Mr. Pytha.
Máa lè yín bọ́lẹ̀ ọ̀ bísí tẹ́ẹ̀bà mute
mẹ́rin sí. Ó ṣàní ṣọ́ọ̀bù tẹ́ bá wọn.
Ẹ mute kí ó lè yín bọ́lẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ yẹn tí bá tún gbọ́ pin lẹ́nu yín you are going down.
Èdè àwọn kan nìyẹn o, ó yẹ kí pátákó lọ pépé. Èèyàn kan ló ní slogan yẹn o.
Bọ̀bọ̀ yẹn ó yẹ kí bọ̀bọ̀ yẹn náà lọ sópù tàpánẹ̀.
Ẹ yẹ kí pàpà ṣe.
Ọlọ́run yọ mí àkáǹtì tí mo fi gòkè yóò ṣe àkáǹtì mo lè fi ṣe yẹn ní àwọn.
Ìta ó tiẹ̀ dá àwọn nǹkan báyìí tó yẹ ká tiẹ̀ máa gbọ́rọ̀ àwọn nǹkan báyìí ká fi jò sí àtàwọn oníradàradà.
Ó yá ẹjẹ́ ṣe summary nǹkan tó ṣẹ̀gbọ́n sí fún wọn. Ẹ fún give remark yọ. So it's mainly concerned about what Abacha regime did to him in terms of the abuse of his human rights, a violation of his human rights, his reputation, his honor, according to him. So for him, he said they defamed his character by spreading different types of lies about him. Not just one, like sustained attack, almost coming every now and then, almost every week. Every publication you see, they will say something wrong about him, something not true about him, something defamatory about him. So it's like they kept on going because of his own activism too, because he was always against them too. Any lecture tó náà bá máa ṣe, any bí tó ti bá máa sọ̀rọ̀, any write-up tẹ́ bá máa rí, is always coming against the Abacha regime too. So they were returning the energy back to him then. And he's also claiming that the Abacha regime, they abused government machinery too. That they were using the government resources, even ministries, to spread information about him. It was not just Abacha having an axe to grind with him. He was using the whole mechanism of the whole machinery. The whole machinery
of Nigeria.
Of the ẹ̀yin people yìí ká ní pé mo gbé kinní gòkè bí màá ti já ògbóyin bọ́lẹ̀ tán.
Níwọ̀n àwọn àti mọ́mí Yẹmí tó ń dín iṣu lóru.
Mo lè ti rí iṣu tí mò ń dín.
Gbogbo ẹni tó tàtàtà lọ́dọ̀ yín lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí.
Ẹ káalẹ́ o, èwo nu yín ló gbóhùn síta dúkìá mu, èwo nu yín ló wà ń di ọ̀rọ̀ ohun síta dúkìá ẹ fi wọ́n lẹ̀ o. Ẹ kò síta dúkìá lẹ bẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run o. Ẹ bẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run ẹ má mọ ohun síta dúkìá lọ o. Ìyẹn dáadáa ni wọ́n o, kí ló dé? Ẹ má bínú ohun síta dúkìá náà.
Wọ́n ti gbọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ̀yà kí Pytha parí ọ̀rọ̀ wọn.
Wọ́n lọ wọlé pẹ̀lú another account báyìí.
Ó bẹ́tà.
Ẹ jẹ́ ń gbọ́ fẹ́m. So, as I was saying, he was also accusing Abacha's regime of using the whole government machinery to come against him. That they were not even hiding it. They were using foreign affairs ministry, using embassies to spread false information about him, even to his school in Atlanta then. And he was also naming people. One of those people he named is Chief Ogundokun there. That one was using his publication is, should we call it newspaper then, or we call it press, printing press, àbí kí la máa pè tí bàbá yẹn nígbà yẹn. that he was using him, that in fact he was so angry at Ogundokun then that Ogundokun made himself a gun for hire to somebody notorious as Abacha, because Ogundokun wà lára I stand to be corrected, ó wà lára àwọn tí wọ́n enjoy regime yẹn, ó wà lára àwọn tí wọ́n, what's the right word to use now, tó bend
Beneficiary.
not yes, but tó bend ní o pé àwọn ò lè sá lọ sẹ́, àjọ máa ṣèjọba yìí ni, àdèmá rí tiwa ṣe níjọba yìí. So it was a willing tool, according to Professor Wole Soyinka, for Abacha to use. So anytime there was a publication, the Conscience International, I think it was, I don't know if it was a weekly or monthly publication then, there's always some stories about Wole Soyinka, whether about his origin, about how he started disruption in the university in Nigeria, about how he was claiming to be what he's not. And all these things were being sent to his university in Atlanta then, trying to bring him to disrepute, trying to malign him in the face of these international observers and friends of him. So these were all part of his petition to the Oputa panel, that all these things need to be brought to the fore. He wants them discussed. He wants people named. He wants people to, he was demanding for accountability on all these things. That there was a massive, gross abuse of power. And even civil servants under Abacha regime, they were complicit in all this. So that was mainly his petition to the Oputa panel. But then somewhere along the line, there was a supplementary petition too. And that one was touching on details about how he founded the Sea Dogs Confraternity. But then I think that petition did not scale through on its own. So eventually was added to the main petition, and it was questioned about everything, and that's what we watched. So that's like the recap of everything we watched. So we can start discussion, questions, and all sorts on it now.
Hello, brethren.
Oh yeah, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ wọ́n mute látẹ̀pẹ́ mute sí ìkẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀.
More ahead. Sharari, in as much as I don't want to take side, Shari, but most of our most of them now become influential in our society now. They're part of the decision-making body in our community, in our society now. Imagine taking history away from our school. Because we don't know where you're coming from, you never know where you're going. I think we have a lot to learn. Other than coming on social media and start saying rubbish.
Orí fídíò kan sí ẹ jẹ́ kí n sáré fi hàn yín lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tá a wà lórí ẹ̀yìn náà ni. Ẹ jẹ́ n sáré gbé yìí débẹ̀. Okay. I made it to camera. Sorry.
Ẹ wọ́n sọ.
Pythagoras kílẹ̀ mi. Ẹ ṣọ́ra yín.
Kí ló ṣe yín lọ́rùn? Gbọ́dọ̀ lọ sí orí àtọ̀ yìí.
Wọ́n dá nǹkan sí mi.
I get the blame for starting it all. It was here, in this alcove, that it all started. The very first campus fraternity in Nigeria, perhaps in all of Africa. We called ourselves the Pirates, spelled deliberately with a Y.
This man does not regret anything. He's so proud of it.
Rebellious gesture against the colonial formal, rather staid, static atmosphere of the first university of Nigeria. Back in the 1950s, it was simply a fun and debating society, a passion fueled with pre-independence idealism. After all, we were soon to be freed from the colonial yoke of Britain. We created an imaginary, non-conformist world, a piratical language, and chivalric code.
Inú mi dùn pé kò sẹ́ni tó pẹ́ lẹ́yìn. Ìpàdé òní ò ní gùn.
Àwọn ẹlẹ́ṣẹ̀ dírámà ni ọ.
Tí ìrántí pé a ó gba àwọn ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ tuntun díẹ̀ láìpẹ́. Gẹ́gẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ti mọ̀ pé àwọn ọmọ ọlọ́dún kejì ni a máa ń gbà.
This is a clip from a film.
Nítorí àwọn tó bá mọ̀wé tó dángájíá ni à ń fẹ́.
This is not what they do.
Kò lè mọ ohun tí à ń ṣe níbí.
This part is a clip from a film. I think it's a Tunde Kelani production.
Àti pé àwọn tó mọ̀wé èsì ìdánwò wọn ọdún kìíní ni a fi ń dá wọn mọ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ni nínú gbogbo ìṣesí wa a gbọ́dọ̀ máa mọ ohun tí ẹgbẹ́ yìí wà fún. Kí la wà fún? A lòdì sí òfin ẹlẹ́yàmẹ̀yà. Ẹgbẹ́ yìí lòdì sí òfin ìjẹgàba. A wà fún ìwà ọmọlúwàbí. A wà fún ìfọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ àti ìwà àkì. Kí ni àwọn nǹkan tó yẹ ká máa rántí? Ìfẹ́ ẹgbẹ́ borí ìfẹ́ inú ẹnikẹ́ni. Àgbájọwọ́ la fi ń sọ̀yà.
Òtítọ́ ó ju ìwà ẹ̀sìn lọ.
Lórí ẹ̀ tí o tó máa ní ẹnu lásán. Ọgbọ́n tí o tó hùwà.
A ò gbọ́dọ̀ dúró sójú kan.
Má ṣe jẹ́ ẹnu dùúrọ̀.
Ẹ má gbàgbé o. Kí a tó wọ́ọ̀dì díẹ̀. Bàrúwá, fún wa lórí díẹ̀ ìdárayá. Àhọ́rí ọ̀tá omi. Ọlọ́gbọ́n ni ó jogun ayé o.
Ọlọ́gbọ́n ni ó jogun ayé.
Yeah, I think so.
Chivalry? Today's cultists would spit on the word.
Yeah. So, àwọn kan ń béèrè pé àwọn mẹ́fà tó kù dà nínú association wọ̀nyí. I found the video somewhere. If you're interested in watching it, I can play it. But if not, we can move on from that. I think that's CV. Yeah. Yeah. This is it.
Abeokuta, the capital of Ogun State in southwest Nigeria, is a city steeped in history and cultural heritage. It is the home of the Egbas, a subgroup of the Yoruba ethnic race. Known for its numerous iconic tourist destinations, such as the majestic Olumo Rock, Abeokuta is also the site of the first church in Nigeria. The city prides itself on producing several prominent personalities and families who have distinguished themselves in various fields of human endeavor. Notable among them are Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther, Chief MKO Abiola, President Olusegun Obasanjo, the Ransom Kuti family, and of course, the literary icon, Professor Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka, a proud and accomplished Egba man, is indeed a global name, having made his mark in the literary world where he has straddled like a colossus for over 7 decades. A playwright, novelist, poet.
Before we go on, Iwe Wole Soyinka Wole like it. Fentoba Manka literature. That's a topic for another day. But if you have any of his books that you've read, please put it in the comment section. My favorite is Ake in his books.
The childhood memory.
Yeah.
An essayist.
Ake is my favorite.
Soyinka's illuminating literary works.
The kids are the
students.
Culminating in the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1986. This prestigious accolade made him the first black African to achieve such a magnificent feat in the literary world.
Now, this is exactly where I started from, the primary school where Professor Wole Yinka started from in 1936. That's 2 years after Wole Yinka was born. He took his books from the compound. This compound used to be where they used to stay, very close to this compound. And he took his books from his father's library and walked into school.
And the funny story about it is that his sisters had gone to school that morning. So he was quiet in the home. He didn't give anybody any suspicion that he was going to plan a coup. So after they got to school with their mom and the rest of the thing, he just sneaked out of house, carried his father's book, and went to that same school. He went to a class and the teacher saw him. What are you doing here? He said, he has come to school. So come and do what? They have come to study, have come to read. Whose book is this one?
I said it's India Tomobola tó ń kíra pẹ̀lú slang in the comment section bẹ́ẹ̀.
Àwọn méjèèjì mi ti fi wọlé. Mi ò wọ́n mi ò mọ̀ pẹ́ o.
I'll be rugged. I ask for to be a pirate. I'll be sailing forever.
Ẹ̀kọ́ orin yẹn a máa fi wọlé ìsìn lọ́la o.
Orin yẹn ó dẹ̀ mú mi rántí àwọn olden days.
Aside from his literary prowess,
Ó dẹ̀ fi bẹ́ẹ̀ kí lọ wá ẹ̀mú.
Also a social crusader and human rights activist who has never wavered in his pursuit of social justice and the political emancipation of his
Ẹ suspect mi pé kí lẹ́jọ́ má suspect mi o.
This course has been throughout his life, from his youth to his twilight years. Activism has always been a significant part of Soyinka's life, dating back to his adolescent days in 1952 as a young student at the University College Ibadan, which was then an affiliate of the University of London. At the tender age of 18,
Screen mo máa block yín o, ẹ má kó bá mi o, mo belong to
fellow students of
ṣebí Nigerian government wọ́n tolerate cultism. Àwọn tó wá ń ṣe mo rí kan of recent yìí ṣé ó dẹ̀ ni wọ́n wá àwọn cultism wọ́n ṣe lọ kó àwọn tí wọ́n ṣe ọdún cultism.
Yẹmi ọdẹ ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ pé àmọ̀lùtẹ̀ ti dàgbà máa láti wàhálà o.
Bọ̀ àwọn ni wọ́n ṣe sójú náà wọ́n gbé sójú.
Mr. Dukia, sorry, ẹ pause now. No, she's asking a valid question, but then what are the legal angles? What are the evidence? Ṣé torí ẹ̀ bá kàn jáde ń sìn sọ pé I'm a cultist? Does that implicate him anyway?
No, mo rí picture, mo rí video tí wọ́n wà ní uniform.
Níbo lẹ́mọ̀ tó ti ṣe fídíò yẹn?
Pàìtà tó bá ní wọ́n cancel ẹ̀ on what basis?
Mọ́mí Yẹmí bonjour.
Wọ́n lè lọ láwọn ṣeré ni.
Mọ́mí Yẹmí. Ẹni pé ṣé ẹ̀yin dá wọn mọ̀ tẹ́ bá rí wọn?
Wọ́n gbé fọ́tò jáde, mo dá wọn mọ̀, mo lè dárúkọ méjì.
Ṣé Nàìjíríà lọ ti ṣe ogun celebration tẹ́yìn rí yẹn?
Ilé wa mọ̀ tí wọ́n ti ṣe o.
Even there is no good news.
Ní adequate information fún wọn.
Even if they have adequate information.
Ẹ bá ní
Paita, you can back me up on this. Under Nigerian Constitution,
what are you backing up?
Under Nigerian Constitution, you have freedom of association. You can't say because of something Emma Council is against the
but the Nigerian Constitution is against cultism.
No, you need to prove that they are cultists.
They have to prove that
you need to prove that they are a cult first. Except you now mention their name. There have been some names that have been proscribed. For example,
but there's freedom of association. See them together.
It's fine. For example, the federal government proscribed IPOB. If you now openly come within their jurisdiction and say you are a member of IPOB and you guys are gathering for a meeting, they have the legal basis to round you guys up and throw you into prison.
Policy statement, people want cancel cultism, but it's not constitutionally right because they are not all prescribed one now.
No, ti láwọn ọkọ̀ tó ti proscribe. Not the Nigerian government, I mean. on some universities, they've prescribed some.
University ló prescribe. Tó bá gbé university yẹn lọ sí court, wọ́n máa win because under constitution they have constitutional backing to
No,
form an
if you
association.
it's up for debate because if you subject yourself when you're joining the university, there are some things you will sign that you will abide by their rules. So if it is part of their rules,
but the university cannot stop them from associating.
not in their campus, it is part of this like an organization. It's either you don't sign their form that I want to abide by.
So it's not left for the university to prove that they can come together. It's not a must that they must say they are here, they are this. It's not left for the university.
People can come together, but if they call themselves a name that have been prescribed, then there is a basis to round them up for that.
And if the activity is suspicious as well, if the activity in the gathering is suspicious, they can.
You are saying Unilag. Oh, so our school. Oh, so Ekpo Malaye by Ojere.
Kò sí cultism ní Unilag, kò wà pronounce lọ títí.
Ó wà ọlẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ní
wọ́n pronounce lọ títí ni. My years of studying. Kò wà pronounce ní Unilag. Disability àwọn la wà ń bẹ̀, àwọn la lọ sí Unilag, kò wà pronounce níbẹ̀.
Gbà tó ṣe ẹ̀ṣọ́.
Kò wà pronounce ní Unilag.
It's not like very pronounced.
Yes, kò ṣe gidigidi. Ó wà o, but then kò kì í ṣe
pé kò sí, but.
Lè rí cultism clash. My year, 5 years in Unilag.
Àti kúrò lórí tọ́pìkì o.
Mr. Bisi, ẹni sùúrù. Ẹ̀tún wọ́n ti ní yàtọ̀ sí tẹlòmíì náà, kì í ṣe odò school lẹ́wà at a time náà.
Prof Kilemi.
Mọ́mí Yemi.
Fellowship lọ́lọ́.
Kemi, I was a general in Manowar. I was a general in Manowar when I was in school. So, tabate àwọn ọlọ́tún súnmọ́ cultism.
Nígbà tó ṣe ti Bọ́lá jẹ́ ẹ̀ṣọ́ ọmọ Professor ọmọ Justice ẹ̀ṣọ́.
2000s lèmi wà ṣe 2000s ni mo wà ní lag not 90.
Ẹ̀dẹ̀ ni wọ́n ṣe kóòtù.
Ó yá ẹ jẹ́ ká padà sí Mọ́mí Yẹmí ẹ̀yin lẹ gbé question tó wẹ́ dàvátì wá àti gbọ̀yìn báyìí ẹ jẹ́ ká continue.
Mọ́mí Yẹmí ò sí school gba àwọn ti ṣe tán school gbà ní Olùtẹ́yìn sọ yìí.
Alongside 6 other like-minded students decided to form a rebellious student group to protest against these societal imbalances. Their actions gave birth to a group they named the Pirates Confraternity, inspired by the daring adventures of the Caribbean pirates of old. The original 7, as the 7 co-founders of the Pirates Confraternity were referred to, comprised Wole Soyinka, Ralph Okpara, Pius Olege, Ikpehari Ike Imokwede, and Nathaniel Oyelola, Olumuyiwa Awe, Sylvanus Egbuje.
It was here, in this alcove, that it all started. The very first campus fraternity in Nigeria, perhaps in all of Africa. We called ourselves the Pirates, spelled deliberately with a Y. And we gathered as a kind of rebellious gesture against the colonial, formal, rather staid, stuffy atmosphere of the first university of Nigeria.
To inject the perception of danger and distinctiveness among their peers, the Pirates Confraternity adopted the crossbones and skull insignia as their motif. They created a unique language which they called piratical language and adopted aliases known as piratical names, different from their original names or lobbish as they termed them. This practice made it impossible to discern their tribal or national identities. Wole Soyinka, who was appointed leader of the group by his fellow co-travelers, adopted the piratical name Captain Blood. Ralph Okpara became Captain Kid. Nathaniel Oyelola was Bonny Bill. Olumuyiwa Awe took on the name Long John Silver. And Ikpehari Aiki Mokwede was known as Black Dog.
Oyelola and Shoyinka are from Abeokuta.
Okay, fine.
And Shoyinka, of course, was the youngest amongst them at the age of 17.
Yeah.
That's Oyelola next to me. That's with this copper here. And from what CD says, they had been discussing the things going on campus cannot continue.
At the age of 17, 18?
17, 18.
Amazing.
These things cannot continue. What are we going to do? And that's how, brainstorming, they decided to come up with this. And for whatever reason, the youngest amongst them, they chose to lead them.
Even as young students, the group adopted a self-defined combative stance, positioning themselves as the
Idera, he wasn't 17. There was a member that was 17 years, not Wole Soyinka himself. I think you're missing it. Let me take it back a bit.
Kí lẹ sọ Dúkìá?
No, that we want to Wole Soyinka was 17 when he...
Yeah, me too. 20s. He was very young. He was young.
Yeah, he was young, but there was a member that was 17 years then.
Why do I know? I think they said Wole Soyinka was the youngest.
No.
As the antithesis of all that was conventional in society. To portray this point, they shunned formal attire, instead designing their uniform to resemble the attire of olden-day seafaring pirates. They held gatherings called sallies to celebrate their camaraderie in noisy revelries, accompanied by music and dance, a tradition that is maintained by the group to this day.
Yeah, it wasn't a hidden cause. It wasn't a hidden confraternity.
Yeah, but when our founders here, former Access Bank chairman.
Aside from his literary prowess, Professor Wole Soyinka is also a social crusader and human rights activist who has never wavered in his pursuit of social justice and the political...
Cindy, I will mute you there now. I will mute you.
Editorial leadership. This has been a consistent thread throughout his life, from his youth to his twilight years. Activism has always been a significant part of Soyinka's life, dating back to his adolescent days in 1952 as a young student at the University College Ibadan, which was then an affiliate of the University of London. At the tender age of 18, Soyinka found himself repulsed by the social lifestyle of many affluent fellow students on campus. These students openly flaunted their wealth and social status, creating a stark divide between themselves and their less privileged counterparts. This ostentatious display of affluence, coupled with a campus life that was predominantly characterized by tribal affiliations, further exacerbated the sense of social inequality. Unable to contain this disgust with what he perceived as social injustice and inequalities on campus, Soyinka, alongside 6 other like-minded students, decided to form a rebellious student group to protest against these societal imbalances. Their actions gave birth to a group named the Pirates Confraternity, inspired by the daring adventures of the Caribbean pirates of old. The original 7, as the 7 co-founders of the Pirates Confraternity were referred to, comprised Wole Soyinka, Ralph Okpara, Pius Olege, Ikpehari Ike Imokwede, Nathaniel Oyelola, Olumuyiwa Awe, Sylvanus Egbuje.
It was here, in this alcove, that it all started. The very first campus fraternity in Nigeria, perhaps in all of Africa. We called ourselves the Pirates, spelled deliberately with a Y. And we gathered as a kind of rebellious gesture against the colonial, formal, rather staid, stuffy atmosphere of the first university of Nigeria.
To inject the perception of danger and distinctiveness among their peers, The Pirates Confraternity adopted the crossbones and skull insignia as their motif. They created a unique language, which they called piratical language, and adopted aliases known as piratical names, different from their original names or lobbish, as they termed them. This practice made it impossible to discern their tribal or national identities. Wole Soyinka, who was appointed leader of the group by his fellow co-travelers, adopted the piratical name Captain Blood. Ralph Opara became Captain Kidd. Nathaniel Oyelola was Bonny Bill. Olumiwa Awe took on the name Long John Silver. And Ikbehari Aiki Mokwede was known as Black Dog.
Oyelola and Soyinka are from Abeokuta.
Okay, fine.
And Soyinka, of course, was the youngest amongst them at the age of 17.
Yeah.
That's Oyelola next.
What did you say, Soyinka? Oh, right. That's
how we're there. This opera here. And from what
Black Dog.
Oyelola and Soyinka are from Abeokuta.
Okay, fine.
And Soyinka, of course, was the youngest amongst them at the age of 17.
You're right.
That's Oyelola next to him. That's how we're there.
Yes,
this
Soyinka, yes.
Opera here. And from what CB says, they had been discussing the things going on campus cannot continue.
At the age of 17,
18?
Amazing.
These things cannot continue. What are we going to do? And that's how, brainstorming.
The idea was,
for whatever reason, the youngest amongst them, they chose to lead them.
Harmful.
Even as young students, the group adopted a self-defined combative stance, positioning themselves as the antithesis of all that was conventional in society. To portray this point, they shunned formal attire, instead designing their uniform to resemble the attire of olden-day seafaring pirates. They held gatherings called sallies to celebrate their camaraderie in noisy revelries, accompanied by music and dance, a tradition that is maintained by the group to this day. The emergence of the Pirates Confraternity was like a breath of fresh air on the University College campus. They were soon held in awe by fellow students and lecturers alike who craved to join its membership. However, intake into the fold was guarded jealously and very stringent, with only a handful of male applicants being considered out of thousands of applications received. With an image of discipline and incorruptibility, the Pirates Confraternity was revered by fellow students. Its members were soon regarded as unofficial campus police, enforcing rules and regulations, maintaining order during student union activities, and leading from the front. These disciplinary traits fascinated and attracted fresh undergraduates to the group across the various institutions.
The very first day of, I think, his matriculation, I saw some people in some, some sort of costume on top of a podium. That podium is actually Sargasso Island. Now, Sargasso Island is on top of the Student Union building. So I saw some people, they sat down on a chair and they were drinking alcohol. So I thought to myself, what's going on? So I just said to myself, maybe this rag day, I was from international school. So we have been seeing rag day of students. So that was rather colorful. That was my first encounter. But the second encounter was most fortuitous that made me say, I'm going to be a pirate. I was in Zik Hall, one of the cafeterias, and there was a long line of students queuing up for food. And then some people just shunted halfway in the middle,
Shunted,
just shunted. They just went in front,
right.
So we were at the back of the line. Then I saw one man now, he just got up there, and went to go and meet those people there. He tapped them on the shoulder and told them to go back. Now, those people are about 3 or 4. So they answered that man, and they all went to the bank of the line. So I asked somebody here there who was in the UI before. I said, do they have prefect in this in this establishment? He said, as you keep quiet, that person is a pirate. And only one of them, as they see there now, maybe they are all around the whole place, and they keep order on campus. Wow. So I was very struck. So that was the first introduction I have into the Pirates Confraternity. Immediately I say, if there are some people who people are afraid of, that they keep order in society, I think I must join. So that's how I made sure I wrote my application, I opened my eyes wide, and then I joined the Pirates, confraternity.
While I was at Yaba College of Technology, which we in Pirates call WARUS, then while I was there, there were this group of people who were always making sure discipline is impacted in the school. We go to a restaurant, we go to the dining hall to eat, they make sure that everybody queues up to take food. Nobody jumps in line. That time, there are some clubs.
Pythagoras. Mr. Pytha.
Yes, ma'am.
Your share TV intention. Sharing cotton shelatile.
Yeah.
The intention, the objective was noble.
It was.
Okay.
And this was years after Wole Soyinka has left. Because these people are younger than Wole Soyinka.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
Okay, let me. I just take you on that one because I was also meaning to talk on it. So because the what's it called now? Their own intentions, their objective for creating that pirate confraternity. I think they had about 5 key objectives then. Yes. One, they said, is combating alienation and elitism, meaning they were trying to address.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, they were trying to address the sense of alienation, which was more like prevalent during that time, the pre-independence era. Another of the objective is to fight petty tribalism. They want to fight tribalism. Another one is they want to instill socio-political consciousness. People should be actively involved in their environment, aware of what is going on, be like a driving force, a change agent in the community. They want to advocate for human rights and social justice. And they want to do some engagement and protests. Those were their 5 key objectives. So in in business, you will have what do you call it again? Is it target now you call it? Then you have actual. This is what you want to do. What did they actually do? What did it now turn into? Can we now reconcile all these things together? Was it worth it? So we've known about their objectives now. So which of these things of these 5 objectives did they actually achieve? From all the interviews with Wole Soyinka, even though there was no way of confirming these things independently, other than going by Professor Wole Soyinka's words. First, they were, according to him, they were the first student group to donate blood when the concept was introduced back then. So you can say, yes, they were, one of the objectives is to be socio-political. They should be conscious about that. Sorry, excuse me.
Sáré dáfàtì kí Pytha tó padà. Ẹ wo nǹkan tí mo rí.
Ọya ẹ dáfàt.
Mo rí nǹkan
Kí lẹ fẹ́ fi hàn wá?
Lórí Facebook ni o, ibi tí mo ti rìn kiri o, ìrìn kiri tí mo ṣe é rí. Bá a ṣe mú àwọn kan sọ́wọ́ lélẹ́yìí.
Ẹ̀pọ̀n kí lélẹ̀?
Zoom the ẹ̀pọ̀n.
Ẹ̀pọ̀n màálù jẹ́. Zoom am wẹ́wẹ́.
Facebook ni mo ti wọ́n ní kí ni nìyà.
Kí ni eléyìí ń tọ́jú ẹ̀pọ̀n kí ni ṣe lọ́wọ́? Àwọn obìnrin wa ìgan ṣá.
Wọ́n ká wọ́n sẹ́yìn.
The obsession with this thing is something else.
Ó kún ọwọ́ dáadáa.
Ìkọ́ tí síbi dẹ̀ fẹ́ dáná. Ìkọ́ tó fẹ́ síbi ìkọ́ tí síbi dẹ̀ bá fẹ́ kó síbi wáyé.
Ẹ̀pọ̀n lọ́wọ́.
Ẹ̀rọ ló mú dání dàbí
Ọlọ́run má máa fẹ́ pọ̀n alọ́wọ́ Táyọ̀kẹ́.
Àmì o Jésù.
Ọlọ́run ti fẹ́ pọ̀ jòsí láwọ̀ tiẹ̀ lọ́wọ́.
Sídì.
Láwọ̀ kọ́sọ́mọ̀ ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́, àwọn kọ́sọ́mọ̀ ẹ̀ dáadáa.
Ẹ̀yin ọkùnrin wa, Ọlọ́run má fi lọ́ta lọ́wọ́.
Ọlọ́run bí tẹ́tù ti lọ rí eléyìí.
Facebook ni.
Mo dẹ̀ rí ọwọ́ mi ò dẹ̀ kúrò nsàlẹ̀ látẹ̀kan.
Ẹ̀pọ̀ lálà.
Ẹ̀rù ń bà yín ni.
Ọdẹ nǹkan kò lè ṣe ó ṣèfù bí tó wà, ẹ má bẹ̀rù.
Ṣé kò tó bẹ̀rù ni?
Ó pọ̀ jòsí yẹn lọ́wọ́ Búkì.
Lọ́wọ́ mi ti pa ẹ̀mọ́ tí.
Ọwọ́ Búkì àbọ̀wọ̀ Gùrẹ́sì.
Bí Gùrẹ́sì ṣe mọ́pọ̀ jòsí dání nìyẹn. Bó ṣe Gùrẹ́sì mọ́pọ̀ jòsí dání gẹ́lẹ́ bó ṣe rí nìyẹn. Kan tẹ́ ẹ̀ mọ̀ bó ṣe rí nìyẹn.
Ẹ̀pọ̀n lálálà.
Ẹ̀pọ̀ pàpà mọ́ bẹ́pọ̀ jẹ mọ́ fún pọ̀ mu.
Ọwọ́ yìí ti fi